Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Joe Show. I'm your host, Joseph Decker. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in early here today. I know it's difficult to make the show tonight, especially with the football playoffs going on right now. We kind of dealt with it a little bit last week, but people were able to still come and support and enjoy the show, and that's always our goal is to fill up all the Kentucky high school basketball fans, families, coaches into the show so they can all kind of come enjoy this night. We got a really fun guest lineup tonight. Last week was great, but I think we might have topped it this week. We've got trainers, some of the best trainers, professional basketball players we've ever had on the show today. We've got some of the top high school players in the state. We got we got a Hall of Fame coach on here today to talk to us. So I'm a big time fan of. He knows that. So we'll have a little bit of everybody on. Jaden Johnson from Trinity is supposed to be joining us today toward the end of the show. Their game just ended against St. X, so it's still 50-50 if he's able to make it on or not. Maddox Huff is still supposed to be joining us tonight from Harlan County. So Maddox Huff and Blake Russell out of Ballard, they'll be joining us still. Going to be on my phone for a few seconds today, just making sure these guys are able to come in, and texting Maddox right now. He'll be hopping on soon. Then Blake Russell will be hopping on soon. So everybody should be able to make it tonight. Jaden Johnson's still 50-50 right now. But we'll be starting our show out today with Coach Tim Hayworth from Mel. But we're going to talk about our sponsors a little bit first and, just hit on a few things. But I want to go ahead and get into our sponsors first. We have Barron Family Farms in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Pelican Snowball in the 3rd and 4th region areas, located in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Grable Funeral Home, longtime sponsor Roy Grable. Exact Homes, that's Scotty Hawkins in Grayson County, Kentucky. The Bee Spring Lumber, that's Wendy and Kelly Wood, longtime supporters and fans of the show in Sweden, Kentucky, in the Bee Spring area. Charity Hall Bingo, that's Troy Devers in Louisville, the best bingo in Louisville. Alfred's Pharmacy, the absolute best pharmacist and pharmacy in Brownsville, Kentucky. Detman Law Injury. That's Brian Detman with the Law Injury Firm. He does our Player of the Week every week. We'll be announcing our Player of the Week after the show today, actually. We'll be doing that on social media. And then CNA Plumbing, our newest sponsor. That's Adam Coates out of Edmonson County, Kentucky, in the 3rd region here in Brownsville. So I want to thank all of our sponsors. If you're interested in hopping on the sponsor sheet, we'd love to have you a part of it. We'd love to do some business together. The other sponsor that's not listed is the Judge Executive of Edmonson County, Kentucky. That is Ronald Scott Lindsay. Ronald, sponsor since day one. So I really appreciate your support, Ronald, and all of our sponsors. It's not possible without you all. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything today. We have some topics we want to hit on that revolve around the basketball realm. We have our guest who's all going to get about 8 to 10 minutes. We got some special guests who will get longer to talk today, but we have some people, we're looking at a 2-hour show today, especially whenever all the guests are off and we do our little bit of portions and talking. And, we want to hit on a lot of things. We got top 10 teams. We're going to talk Player of the Week after the show. That'll all be on social media. But more importantly, we're going to hit and talk to our guest today. So our first guest will be Coach Tim Hayworth out of Louisville Mel. He's a Hall of Fame type coach. He was amazing at Hopkinsville, and he's doing an amazing job at Mel these past few seasons. He's got a really fun team this season who's led by one of the top freshmen in the state of Kentucky, and Jordan Mitchell. But many people forget Cole Edlin has not played recently. He kind of missed. He's missed every game since he played about the first 4 to 5, and he's been out since then. We're still wishing him speedy recovery. We're hoping to have him back. Maybe Coach Tim will give us a little bit of an update, but we're going to talk about this Mel team, the strong 7th region, how he feels kind of at this midway point, and what we can expect out of Mel in the future. Coach Tim, welcome on to the show, Coach. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I had to get you on here. I think I texted you Tuesday. You were the first guest I kind of had lined up that I wanted on here.
I appreciate that.
I don't want to rush into anything too quick, but I really want to talk to you about your team in Louisville Mel. We're kind of at that midway point, it feels like, of the season. We're 17, 18 games in. You guys sit at 10-7. You guys are just had an absolute battle of a game last night against Great Crossing. I want you to kind of tell me how you feel about your team at the mid-season mark, and then we'll lead into that Great Crossing game a little bit.
I really love our team. But coming into the season, I thought it could be a 25 to 30 win season. Obviously with the pieces that we have, and Cole went out. We were 4-0, playing really well. We just beat the number 1 team in 6A Alabama down at Murray State, and then he got hurt, and so it kind of changed the direction of our whole season. But what it's allowed. So we're 10-7, and obviously Friday night we had a game against St. X where they just played out of their mind. So we have to give them credit. And I talked to you before, it really doesn't, the regular season's one thing, We got beat 39 points one year at Hoptown. 2 weeks later, we beat the same team by 1 in the district. A week and a half later, we beat the same team by 17 in the regional championship and go to the state tournament. So, games like that, you're going to have 1 or 2 of those games a year. And St. X is really good. But, man, I love our team. When we get Cole back, I feel like he's the best player in the state, at the guard position. And I think he just elevates everybody's game. Right now, we got a freshman leading us in scoring in Jordan Mitchell. Jason Gazaway has also been out a month. He is averaging about 16 a game. He came back Friday night. He was kind of hobbled, didn't look as good, obviously as what I'd hope, from an injury standpoint. But then Saturday he played, and I could tell he was a lot better, fluid with his movement. He had like 19 points. And so getting Cole and Jason back is going to be huge for us to be able to make our run. But I think once we get them back, we're as good as anybody in the state.
It's happened to a few teams this season. I feel like the expectations were so high, and they still are for a lot of teams, but, they have some hiccups, in the middle. It could be injuries, things can happen to coaches. There's all kinds of things that can happen, but for you all, it feels like the injury bug has really hurt you all. How have you been able to, kind of keep that locker room upbeat and motivated? I know when guys go down and losses, kind of feel the stat sheet at times, teams can get down, people can get upset, not too many people are excited and positive. How have you been able to keep this, locker room excited, motivated, and pushing forward and winning games?
Friday night, just an awful game for us. And I knew we had high character kids in that locker room that work hard every day, but the text messages they were sending me after the game was just amazing. It made me feel so great as a coach. And I knew that they will do everything that they can in the next 6 weeks to make sure that we're at Rupp Arena. And, and it's, as a coach, that makes me feel really good. And, so I know what their motivation is. I know how hard they're going to work here in the next 6 weeks for us to be able to reach our goals. And, we're used to winning at Mel. And so we've been in the state tournament 3 out of the last 5 years. And so maybe going into the regional tournament, we necessarily wasn't the best team or, who people thought was going to be the best team, but we ended up being the best team. And so, 2020, obviously that team was unreal. We had 6 Division I players.
Yeah.
We won the last 17 games and we were the heavy favorite to win the state championship before it got shut down. And then in 21, we were preseason number 1 in the state and we only played 7 games. So, that season got shut down with COVID and then we won it in 22, 23. So we're used to winning. And when you have that winning mentality, like we're able to take all the things that happen to us in a season. We don't look at records really. I don't really get into that. I don't scoreboard watch. I don't look at a certain team and say, well, this team beat them, because it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that 32 minutes in the first round of the region, wherever you're playing at, can you compete and try to make, and if you're good enough, you'll make it. It's important in the 7th region to win the district.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go on the road in the first round.
Coach Tim, you've been a part of a lot of great teams. We could talk about the Hopkinsville days. It feels like we could have a whole show on that alone, but you've also had so many teams at Mel. Does the team you have right now, through the midway point kind of remind you of any team you've ever coached before? Do they have any similarities at all? Do you kind of get any flashbacks with this team sometimes?
Last year, and I love my team last year, but I never felt like they were a state tournament type team. Like I think we would have had to play really, and we had a really good season. 22 wins, but I never felt like they were a state tournament team. I felt like we had to have a lot of breaks for that to happen. Yeah. This year, I feel like we got a group that's a state tournament team. I really do. Now, obviously, we have to have Cole. We have to have Jason healthy. Like, we got to have our guys to be able to compete for a regional championship and a state championship. But I feel like if that happens, I feel like we have what it takes. We have the inside play. We have the guard play. We can defend. I feel like, and the thing is, the game's at Valley. So certain teams play really well at Valley and certain teams don't. We've always played really well at Valley in the regional tournament. And, and so it's going to be a 60 to 56 game with somebody. And we hope that we're the 60 and the opponents are the 56.
There's a player on your team, coach. His name's Keyshawn Jordan. He is a super fun player to watch, but, he really does impact winning every night. And he's still undecided. He's still uncommitted. We still don't know, where he'll play, at the next level. But for the coaches, the scouts, the people who might be watching, Keyshawn Jordan, he's one of the top unsigned 2025s. What are they getting at the next level with a guy like Keyshawn, and what makes him special?
Keyshawn's got so much potential. As a freshman, he was my ninth man. As a sophomore, he didn't play much varsity, played very little. He'd come in, and then as a junior, he started. And so Keyshawn's a testament to hard work. And, in this microwave society that we're in, people want success so quick, and they're just so quick to jump ship if something isn't going right or if they're not playing. And Keyshawn has just, totally stuck it out here at Male. And he's a testament to that of what hard work and determination to get you. They're getting a great kid. They're getting a 17-year-old. He's young, so he's got a lot of potential, a lot. He's an extremely hard worker. He's athletic. He can rebound. He knows his game. He's starting to step out, knock down threes. He knocked down another one last night, and I told him that's a piece like he really shoots it well in practice, and so he's starting to step out and knock down threes. And I just think whatever Division I school gets him, or, if he chooses Division II, NAIA, whatever it is that he wants to go. I tell kids all the time, it doesn't have to be D1. Go where you want to go, and don't let anybody else decide that. You decided it's your life. And so wherever he decides to go, they are going to get a great kid and a great leader.
Yeah. And you kind of hinted on that a little bit where, like, some kids will think nowadays if it's not D1, it's bust. And that's, it's the worst way to think possible. And I think a lot of people, one thing that's still so beneficial in college choices is fit. And I think Keyshawn can fit so many teams and, fit so many type of, play styles and the way teams play and what they execute on. So I'm a big fan of Keyshawn, and I think his best basketball is still ahead of him. I still think his best basketball is still yet to be played. Coach, like I said, we're at the halfway point, but you still kind of have that second half of the season to fill out. Tell me about the rest of the schedule and some games you're looking at. I know you guys will have Ballard January 31st. That will be a fun one. You still have to play Manual again, Cal, PRP, who's been good. So kind of give me an update on this rest of the schedule and some of the games you're looking at right now.
Well, we have, we have one of the hardest schedules in the state. We do every year. I'm beyond winning. I'm beyond having to try to win games. I just want to get us ready for the state tournament. And the thing is, we've got Seneca tomorrow night, who's always a challenge. The thing about the 7th region, there's a ton of schools out in the state that could definitely beat any of us on one night. But it would be hard. Like, if you put teams in the set, there's 7 or 8 teams that absolutely can beat you on one night. There's probably only about 3 or 4 teams that can win 3 games in a row. Yeah. But there's only, but the 7th region's brutal in itself. But we got Ballard Friday night. Then the next week, we got Moore on Wednesday, Collins. It's not on the schedule, but we're going to be playing at Collins on Friday, and then Cal. And then we get into our, we still got to get J-Town. We'll be playing them. Manual. We go to Cathedral, Indianapolis Cathedral. Yeah. On the 22nd, and so that really gets us ready for the district and region as well.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of those perfect games that kind of gets you hard-nosed, ready. You got a little bit of a battle before the most important part of the season, so I think it'll get the guys ready. Coach Tim, I don't want to hold you all night, but I do have another question or two to get you ready. Do we have any type of update on Cole? I know a lot of people's itching to hear that. A lot of people really want to know when it could be back. We might not have official dates, but do you know if it will be, before the end of the regular season?
Yeah, we're looking at 2 or 3 weeks. He'll be back before the regular season. We don't want to just rush him back. But, man, when we get him, it's going to elevate our team to another level. I don't know if anybody was able to see him play the first 4 games. But, he was averaging 25.5 points per game, 8 assists per game. He's put on 25 pounds since last year. He was shooting like 8 to 10 free throws a game, but he's really able to get to the basket and just do a lot of different things for our team. And so it's really going to elevate everybody's play. I feel like he's the front runner for Messer basketball next season. Yeah. And I think, when you've got a kid that's that good, it obviously elevates your whole team.
Well, I've said it like this to a lot of people. I think Cole Edlin, he can be a statistical guard. He can be. He can have the best stats in the state at times, but Cole's really focused on winning, and it's hard to find a guard who wins like Cole Edlin. So, I'm really excited to see him come back. Coach Tim, I want you to leave us off with something. What can you tell to the male fans watching right now and those, supporting their Bulldogs?
We're going to be right there. When I took this job, Coach Kelsey, our athletic director, who I feel is the best AD in the state,
Mm.
It's an honor for me to be the coach. But I told him, I said, we'll be sitting at the table every year. Doesn't mean you're going to win the region. Doesn't mean you're going to win your district. But I promise you this: nobody's going to want to play us here in about 6 weeks. Nobody's going to draw us and say, "Man, I'm really glad that we got Mel." And so that's what I love about being at Louisville Mel. Like, we don't play second fiddle to anybody. That's why we've won it 3 out of the last 5 years. And we expect our expectations is that we're going to win it against not who's the best team right now, but I promise you, here in 6 weeks, I feel like Mel High School will be the best basketball team in the 7th region. And so it's for us. It's for ours to go get. And and so we're going to be right there.
Well, Coach Tim, I really appreciate having you on tonight. I know there's a lot of games, other things going on, but I'm glad you could take some time out of your day. Definitely going to want to have you on here again soon, especially when a guy like Cole's back. Would love to have you all on before going into the district region play. But maybe one day we'll get you on this summer and we'll talk about, the legend you were at Hopkinsville, and we can reminisce a little bit. But Coach Tim, I really appreciate you coming on here tonight and being our first guest.
Appreciate it, Joe.
Of course. We'll see you soon. That was Coach Jim Hayworth at Louisville Mel coming in, giving us a little bit of a mid-season check-in, talking about his team. We hit on some history a little bit. We said, are these teams like anyone you've ever had before? We kind of hit on a lot of things. We got a long list of guests behind the scenes right now, backstage, getting ready to join. But our next guest is an absolute professional basketball legend. The work he did in his statistical games and the things he did in Mexico. He sent me his list before. It was phenomenal. He's got a long list of success throughout his career. But now, one thing he's known for is training some of the best basketball athletes in the state of Kentucky. Going to make sure he's ready to go behind the scenes, and that'll be Jordan Bringers, in Eastern Kentucky. We're going to have him on today to talk. We have 1 or 2 guys today on the show who's actually worked under and trained under Jordan. So Jordan hit me, and I knew we'd have to get him on here and just kind of, touch base, see how he's doing, what he's been up to. We'll look back on some things he's done, but also have him talk about some of the guys that he's got to train and work with in this state and what makes them so special. So we're now going to welcome on Jordan. Jordan, what's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. How's everything going?
It's going good for me, man. I'm glad to have you on. I want to say one thing before we get too far going. We have another guest on the show lineup tonight. His name's Xander Carter. I know you're a big fan. You've worked with him many times. We see what he's doing right now in the season. He might be the front runner for Mr. Basketball. He's definitely, if he's not one, he might be two. Tell me about Xander and what makes him so special, because we've talked to Xander, but I want to hear from someone who knows him almost better than anybody. What makes the kid so special?
For sure. Everybody thinks, basketball is number one on his list, but man,
Mhm.
Xander's a great kid.
Yeah.
He has a really high belief in God, and his faith is really high. He's a tremendous person. He's team first. He's not worried about stats or anything like that. He really wants to win a state championship. I think that's his ultimate goal.
Mhm.
But I don't think he gets enough credit for how good of a basketball player he really is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think one thing one of the biggest things I respect about Xander is without a doubt his faith. And we talked about it a lot when I had him on this fall, and we talked about his recruitment. And a lot of people wonder, why did Xander commit so early? Why did he choose Liberty? But he really got to talk to me that day about why he did it, what made it feel great, and it kind of opened things up a little bit. And it sucks that the media and a lot of people forget about Xander at times because he was an early commit. He did decide what he wanted to do early, but the season he's having right now is phenomenal. But Jordan, I want to talk about you, man. For those that don't know Jordan Bringers, what do you do? What's some of the things you excel at? And, I want you to hit a little bit about your past, because you were a super, super phenomenal professional basketball player. And just let's take this next minute or two for you to talk about you and the things you do.
I started my high school career off. I played 2 seasons at North Hardin High School.
Mhm.
I got a chance to play for all-time great Ron Bevers. He had 12 region titles in North Hardin. He's coached a lot of tremendous players. Then I finished my last 2 high school seasons out at Louisville Eastern. I
Mhm.
played for Jason Couch my junior year, and then my senior year, I had an opportunity to play for David Henley. So I played for some very good coaches in high school. So, then I got the opportunity to play at South Plains Junior College. I played for a Hall of Fame coach, Steve Green. He has 3 national championships, one being in 2018 that I won as a player. Then, I had a pretty successful career. I'm very fortunate. Coach Green kind of gave me the green light to kind of play, and do. And make plays and be able to, just have a lot of freedom. And
Mhm.
then, man, I was fortunate enough to, get an opportunity to play professional.
Yeah. What would you say your favorite moment of your professional career was? Because you traveled, you got to play in a lot of good country. You got to, you got to pick up some hardware. I know you were telling me your accomplishments and stuff. Kind of hit on that a little bit for me.
If I had to pick one, man, it'd just be playing in Germany. I
Mhm.
was fortunate enough to play in the top league in Germany. It's called the BBL. Man, I played against some great players, some all-time greats. And I had a chance to play against some Euro League teams.
Yeah.
I played against Bayern Munich and Bamberg. They're powerhouses in Europe. So if I had to choose one, I'd say that'd be it.
Well, yeah, you sent me, a lot of your stats, some of the things you did, and you played at South Plains, which is a great JUCO. And I kind of talked to it, Tim, a little bit there when we talked about how kids nowadays view, anything not D1. Sometimes they view it as a bust. They say it's not, worth going to college if you don't have a Division 1 offer, a chance. But you got to experience JUCO, and you got to experience almost better than anybody with the things you did. Why should kids really consider JUCO? And I know a lot of things have been happening recently. Bills passed, laws passed with JUCO that really benefits it. But what makes JUCO special, and why should kids go that route? Because right now it's looking like the best route that's not named, Division 1 at times.
Yeah, like Coach said, I'll just, take off what he said is just, kids, they need to find the best situation possible.
Mhm.
A lot of kids, and obviously, I think everybody's ultimate goal as a high school player is to play Division 1.
Mhm.
But finding the right fit, whether it's junior college, Division 2, NAIA, I know a lot of guys who either play Division 2 or NAIA that are making a lot of money overseas right now.
Yeah.
So if you find the best situation that fits you and excel and work hard, anything's possible.
Of course. And, tell me a little bit about the overseas style of basketball and what makes it different. We've had Pedro Bradshaw on before, who plays in the NBL in Australia. And, he kind of talked to us about those road trips and how it's all different overseas and, the style of play. And he even said the physicality at times is a lot stronger than in America. So, kind of tell me how, that transition was for you coming from America to overseas and playing. And, was the basketball better over there? Was it more physical? What was some of the biggest things you recognized when you first got there?
I think the first thing I recognized is it's real tactical.
Yeah.
A lot of the coaches, man, it's really strategic. A lot of sets, a lot of
Mhm.
offense, a lot of, you got to have a high IQ to play in Europe, and I tell people that all the time. I think, as far as the NBA and playing in the G League and stuff, obviously there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talented guys, but playing in Europe, you've got to be able to play the right way, make the right reads, and just a lot of little stuff.
Um, Sorry, we're texting Steve, making sure Xander's all good to go behind the scenes. So I'll ask you this, Jordan. You've got to train and work with some of the highest recruited, respected, ranked players in the state of Kentucky, not just on the boys' side, but on the girls' side too. I know we talked about a few of the girls you'd worked with before the show, but that's one thing I really want you to hit on right now is kind of tell me about some of the guys that you got to train and work with, and then also tell me about some of the girls you got to work and train with, because I know on the girls' side, there's two superstars that you can definitely talk about, but there's also some on the boys' side.
Yeah. I'm so fortunate, man. I've worked with a bunch of really good players, and there's been a lot of players that have reached out trying to get extra work in. And obviously, sometimes it's tough when schedules don't align,
Yeah.
so can't work things out. But on as far as the boys' side, man, I'm starting with Xander Carter.
Mhm.
Obviously, people are gonna think I'm biased because I've trained Xander and I've always worked with him. I'm around him, but man, in my eyes, I think he's Mr. Basketball front runner. From an outsider looking in, if I didn't know Xander, he checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
All around, he can score it, shoots it well. He guards the best player every game. He's a team first guy. And they're playing a gauntlet of a schedule, and he's been playing well the whole season. So on the girl side, I mean, it's an easy one to talk about. Sakai Johnson.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to work with her,
Mhm.
and obviously everybody in the state knows how good she is and the career she's had as a player. And I talk to her all the time, and we talk about just workout by workout, keep enhancing details and working, and just trying to figure out all the small things we need to work on before she heads to LSU.
Yeah, and I want to ask you this, Jordan, because you've kind of got to work with, maybe the ones that, aren't going to be, you've kind of got to work with people who might not be a college level athlete, might be a D3, a D2, a JUCO. I ask scouts this. I always like to pick brains. I always like to get a little smarter too. But what's the biggest difference you've kind of realized that separate the Division I kids and ones that's not? A lot of people says it's their quick first step, how they move, how things kind of come to them naturally, how they react. What would you say kind of separates the Division I athletes the most?
If I had to choose, I'll go with two things. I would say consistency
Hmm.
and footwork.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of younger athletes understand the footwork and how you need to get into certain moves and footwork coming off pin downs or dribble handoffs. All that stuff plays a big key. And then, you talk about kids that are starting to go to play Division I, man. I think it's just a whole different level. And that's stuff you've got to have already in your arsenal when you go to that level.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people, especially Division I, who it feels like, not everybody's born with those natural intangibles and that, high level IQ right away. Some people's blessed with it. And, you definitely see that in the Division I, the Division I realm. Jordan, keep us up to date with you, man. What have you been up to? Who have you worked out with recently? What's your schedule looking like moving forward?
Man, I'm trying to, just trying to stay busy. I've got a bunch of athletes that have reached out as far as getting more work in. I think the biggest thing for me is for the ones that I have worked out or worked out prior. I like to get around and watch everybody play.
Yeah.
I like to see if my stuff's translating to a game situation. You can always get better at each and every detail. So I try to get around and watch everybody play.
Of 100%. I can go ahead and back you up for that. I know there's a
Yeah.
lot of some trainers and guys who don't always go out and watch. One thing I have seen you do, I've seen you at King of the Bluegrass. I've seen you at multiple events checking in on your guys, and I think that's super super dope. And I really do respect that. We've talked about Xander a little bit, but tell me, who are some of your favorite players in the state of Kentucky? Because like you say, you go to these events, you get to watch some people. We've texted about kids before. Who's some of your favorite players in this state? And I want you to kind of tell us what makes Kentucky's talent so special. I'll ask you that after, but kind of tell me some of your favorite guys.
Just off the top of my head, if I had to just pick a couple favorites, obviously Xander. Xander's up there. Reese Davison
Yeah.
from North Laurel. Uh, I think another guy who just recently got eligible, who doesn't get enough credit, is Caden Reed, point
Yep.
guard at Montgomery County. He's really special. He's a pure point guard. Um, I don't know, man. It's tough, man. There's so many good players in the state of
Yeah.
Kentucky. You'd have to go EJ Walker at Lloyd Memorial.
Mhm.
I'm a fan of him.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know, man. It's a long list, and you could obviously talk about a bunch of good players in Lexington and Louisville, and then even on the Western Kentucky side of basketball, you can go down there as well. But I think those would be the ones at the top of my list.
Well, you named some of the top guys, the high potential guys, some of the great guys. We know you've worked with Reese a little bit. He talked
Yeah,
to us a little bit about that last time he was on the show. But Jordan, you do a phenomenal job. I love what you do. Respect a lot of it. I know the guys love what you do. I know I'm going to have Xander talk a little bit because we've given Xander some praise, so we're going to obviously have him talk on here a little bit. But Jordan, I'm going to want to have you on again soon, man, and we can talk about a lot more. We can definitely recap that career even more into detail. But Jordan, I really appreciate you coming on tonight, man. I know it's usually, a high school based show where we just get coaches and players, but I definitely wanted to have you on and I don't regret it at all. Jordan, thank you for coming on tonight,
for
man.
sure, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, Jordan, you stay safe. Keep me updated, man. That was Jordan Brangers, one of the top trainers, if not the top trainer in the state of Kentucky, kind of checking in with us, talking about a few of his guys, what he's been up to, how his workspace has looked a little bit. But we got a long list of guys behind the scenes right now who's ready to hop on the show. But our next one recently scored 53 points in a game, which is one of the biggest scoring accomplishments in the season so far, without a doubt. I'm not sure what the number one is. I think it could be 56, but 53 is right there. This guy just broke 1,500 points for his career. He's a phenomenal dual sport athlete. Don't get me started on the football player he is as well. But, he's one of my personal favorite players in the state. We stay up to date pretty frequently. He's been one of the top guys who's been on my radar. He was phenomenal at Collins this summer. That's another thing I want to talk about, but I won't sit here and hype him up way too much. I know he's about to hop on. We'll talk to him a little bit. Welcome to the show, Saxton Howard. Saxton, what's up,
What's
man?
up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Saxton. Like I said when you first joined, it's long overdue. I should have had you on here months ago, but I'm super excited we're able to get this done. Saxton, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the 50-plus point performance, man. Talk about that game. Run it through me a little bit. Were you feeling it going into the game? Talk about that win and just kind of give me the rundown.
Well, going into the game, I was nursing a sprained ankle from the week prior. We played over at Lincoln County, and I sprained my ankle up there, and I had to miss a game. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to play, but the game had a little bit deeper meaning. my dad and mom actually went to Meade County, which is the school that we played.
Yep.
So it was their old school, and it's where my dad played high school basketball, and my mom cheerleaded. So it meant a lot having a good game and going out there and warm ups and feeling good and ready to go. And it meant a lot having one of my best games of my career so far in their old gym. So.
Yeah. Well, I knew when Howard texted me that night and he said, "Man, you got to see this." He was like, "Against my former school." He sent me the list. I thought it was super awesome, man. Check me in with Lexington Christian so far, man. Tell me how the seasons went. Tell me about some of the other guys who's making noise for you all having good seasons. And how do you feel kind of setting at this midway point? I know the record might not be as great as you wanted, but some things, the wheels are kind of starting to turn in. You guys got that big win against Meade, and now you kind of look forward to the schedule. How you feel kind of setting at this midseason point?
Absolutely. Well, we've had about a handful of games this year where everybody's been healthy. So we've had about a lot of injuries. We haven't played over 4 games with all 5 of our starters. So that's been really tough. But we've had some young guys step up, and we have a really, really good young group of guys that have a bright future to be really good basketball players when they grow older, and that's exciting. But regarding the rest of the season, no, we've had a great year so far, building memories. High school basketball. It's high school basketball at the end of the day, so it's about uh, the memories and the positive mindset and everything that goes about the season. But no, we're led by a great coach, and Coach Ted Hall. He and Coach Henry Thomas, who was a player at Kentucky back in the day. So we just have a lot of things to look forward to, and we have a big week coming up with, I think, uh, 3 district games. So those are the big ones, and those are the ones where you try to get the best seeds for playoffs and for the district tournament. So.
Of course, man. And like you said, the region, the district, it's starting to heat everything up. It's Hayworth talked about it earlier. He really did hit on it perfectly. This time of season, these games coming up, they're kind of the most important. You obviously got the district and the region, but these district games mean just so much. Let's talk about this 11th region, Saxton, because is this the best the 11th region's ever been? It's definitely one of the better seasons. There's so many double-digit win teams. You talk about a Frederick Douglass, Bryan Station, Great Crossing, Madison Central, so many 15-win teams and teams that's dominating so far. Tell me a little bit about this 11th region and what you think makes it special. Is it the athlete, coaches? Tell me a little bit.
I mean, I just think Lexington and Central Kentucky basketball is just elite every year. I've been playing varsity basketball since freshman year, sophomore year, and I mean it's been stacked each and every year, and I mean it's been awesome. It's been awesome to see all the guys in the past go on to college and do big things, and then it's been awesome to grow up and be the guys that the younger guys are looking up to and stuff. So it's been pretty cool. And
Yeah.
the 11th region is awesome. I mean, everybody knows everybody. I know one of my best friends, Malachi, is at Great Crossing. One of my best friends, DeMarcus Surratt's at Douglass, and Amari Owens at Bryan Station.
Yeah.
Just those are all the guys I grew up with playing all the local games when you're younger and stuff. But it's awesome to be able to compete with one another, because this is what we worked so hard for our whole life, to be able to get to that senior year, junior year, everybody going at each other to see who can make it out on top. So I definitely expect us to make some noise in the region and just make something happen.
Of course. So I kind of hit it on it a little bit earlier, but one of the big reasons and one of the key ways that I got to get familiar with Saxton Howard was Collins this summer. You had an electric summer. You had a really good time with Collins. Got to catch you play a little bit for Era Elite up there at the Battle of the Bridges when you and Malachi and Trent Sisley and Trey Singleton all teamed up. And that's a team I'd love to watch again, man. I think even you loved being a part of that. That was about as fun basketball as I've seen in a while. But, tell me, going into this season, how you kind of felt going into the season, what was some expectations you have? And, I know it's always harder going into football, into basketball, because it's another, little bit of an obstacle you have to face. Would you say you're happy with how your season's going so far? And have you met some of them goals that you kind of set for yourself going into the year?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I've been very happy. There's been ups and downs. Coming back from playing quarterback this year for the football team. So it was a big transition for me, but it's always a tough one. But, I wouldn't want to do it any different way. I'm very thankful that I got to represent my school in two different sports and be able to make the most of my high school experience like that. But in the basketball perspective, I definitely think I've made the most of this season, and I'm having a great time. Definitely the most fun playing basketball I've had my whole entire career. But going into the year, I knew that it was going to be a lot of big challenges. Defenses were going to have a lot of eyes on me at times, and I was going to have to really lead the young guys, lead the guys that are older but don't have as much experience playing at the varsity level,
Mhm.
because we had some guys transfer out the year prior. But it was a big step for me. And that's one thing that I pride myself on is loyalty. And the thing going into the year was there was a lot of guys that transferred out, and the grass isn't always greener. And I just feel like
Yeah.
being able to play all 4 years of my high school experience at the same exact school and being able to
Yeah.
showcase even to like the younger people at my school and even to the parents, just knowing that that LCA is a great place to be in, because of your faith, because of athletics, because of the people that are around you at the school, just great all around people. And I'm just very thankful that I got to spend all 4 years and just have loyalty to the program, because I know that a lot of the guys that made decisions to leave this past year are probably second guessing themselves a little bit. But no,
Yeah.
I'm just very thankful for LCA as a whole, and just being able to represent and be a role model to the younger kids there too.
Well, I know for a fact there's been opportunities to leave and times where you could have maybe gave up and wanted to, get a fresh start, go do other things differently. And one thing I respect a lot about you is your loyalty to the program and what you've done. Saxton, it's your senior season, and the recruiting process is heating up. Things like that are starting to take into effect. Offers are coming in, coaches are talking. Saxton, do we know what we're going to see Saxton? Do we know what he's going to pursue in his college career? Is he going to go for football? Is it going to go for basketball? Do we have that answer?
We are currently undecided at this time, but I've been in contact with
Yeah.
with many coaches, and with many different coaches, and I'm just very excited to be able to have the opportunity, and I'm just very thankful to be able to go have a college education and be able to play the game I love, and to be able to make those lifelong connections at whatever school I choose to go to.
Well, we know it's going to be fun, and having the little dual sport aspect has to make it even more fun sometimes, especially the visits got to be fun. But we wish you best of luck on whatever decision you do make, Saxton, whether if it's soon or maybe it's later on toward the end of the season. Saxton, I appreciate you coming on here tonight, man, and giving me a little bit of your time to talk about your recent performances, check in on LCA and things like that. We'll definitely have you on again soon. But Saxton, I really appreciate you coming on, man. You want to leave us off with anything?
No, sir. I appreciate your time and letting me join the show.
Of course, Saxton. Thanks for hopping on, man. Saxton Howard makes his debut on the show to talk all things LCA, his recent performances, accomplishments, gave us a little bit of an update on the recruiting side and what may be coming up, and I really do appreciate him for hopping on. Hopefully, Xander Carter is here with us. Xander Carter is looking to be our next guest. If not, we'll move on, but I see Xander in the background ready to go. Let's welcome him on. Xander Carter, this might be our longest little bit of a guest. We're going to talk about some things, announce some things, but Xander Carter, welcome on to the show for the second time, man. Xander, what's up, dude? How you doing?
How are you, my man? I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, man. I knew with it being a Sunday, there was a good shot you were busy and things would happen, but I'm glad we were able to get you on. I'm glad you made it home, man, and we're ready to go. But Xander, we have to talk about Ashland right now because it feels like the gears and the grinds, everything's starting to turn right now. Everything's starting to get going. I checked earlier. I don't even think I remember the win streak is so long right now. So, the locker room has to be great. I know coach has to be happy. I know the guys got to be excited. There were some losses preseason that we had talked about. And, earlier in the year, but we knew that injuries were a big bug. We know the schedule was hard, and it's always hard playing the most elite teams in the state, especially when you got 3 or 4 guys out. So, to see how you guys were able to play and able to keep the locker room positive and move on, I think was, a big testament to how good of a team you guys are. But I'll ask you this question. I think this is a big thing I want to hit on. You guys took some losses at King of the Bluegrass, which I know kind of had you all down. You guys didn't have the performance you wanted. How were you guys kind of able to stay 10 out of 10 in the locker room, upbeat, motivated, and able to move forward? Because after that, you guys go on to the AIT and, kind of sweep the event, win every single game. How are you guys able to, stay motivated, stay in the right headspace, and, get this season back on track and going?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us was keeping the main thing. And we're happy with the win streak, but we're not satisfied. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do, especially to get back to Rep Arena for the 7th time in a row. But it was kind of a wake-up call at King of Bluegrass. So, we lose 3 and 2 of them being in overtime losses, and we felt like we just kind of went down to Louisville and dropped the ball almost. And so we took a deep dive back into practice, film, everything. I'd be lying if I said we didn't get ripped a few times, but that's a part of it. That's kind of what gets us back on track. And so we just kind of kept the main thing. We kept trusting our guys, and we slowly got those injuries healed and continue just to get everybody back and get everybody eligible. And kind of when everybody gets back on the floor, we all trust each other on and off the floor. Really super, super tight knit group. It just kind of gels well, and you can kind of see it come to fruition.
Well, Xander, I know you're about the most humble guy we can get on here, but we have to talk about your individual season so far. And I know you love to credit the guys, but we really got to talk about it because it's been, like me and Jordan talked about, like we talked about behind the scenes and what the media is talking about right now. If you're not the front runner for Mr. Basketball, you're definitely number 2 or number 3. The season you're having so far, 24.5 points, 61% from the field, 50% from 3, about 6 rebounds and 4.5 assists. One thing that I like about Xander Carter is that it's not always about scoring the most points. It's all about winning basketball. And how would you say you're feeling with your season so far, how you're playing on an individual rate? I know you probably had some goals, some expectations. Would you say you met them so far? Would you say you're having a pretty good season? Don't be too hard on yourself.
No, I would definitely say I'm on pace, or I'm on track. I'm definitely not satisfied. There's a few goals at the end of the year that I definitely want to get. One being a state championship and 2 being Mr. Basketball. So once I check those off, I'll be pretty happy with the season as well. I've been playing really well. That's just kind of a testament to my faith outside of it, and the guys in the locker room and Coach Bonner and everybody. I had to take on a different role this year, kind of being the point guard, moving from the 2 back to the 1, dealing with those injuries and everything. And so once we just recently got a guy back named Cam Davis. He had a high ankle sprain and a bone bruise in his ankle, so he was dealing with a lot. We're hoping to get Elijah Neal eligible again here soon. Yeah, both really good point guards, and so I'm super happy with the way I've been playing. Obviously, there's a lot to work on, and there's always room for improvement. And so just kind of knowing there's room for improvement, that's what I strive for every single day. So it's definitely a blessing where I'm at, but definitely not close to where I'll be.
Yeah, and we know one thing about this Ashland team is that the offense is fun. You guys shoot a lot of shots, especially behind the arc. I was looking, and I think you guys are about at 180 three-pointers made on the season. And when you got Drew Smith, Caleb Clark, Preston Hoskins, Braxton, who's finally back, Tyson, all these guys who can stretch the floor, it makes the offense so much fun. Hit on me about these roster moves a little bit. Hit about me about the guys you have on this team, the guys who make this team special. Drew and Caleb both scoring double digits as well. Braxton, Preston, Tyson all over 6.5 a game. So tell me what makes this team so special, how these guys are all kind of starting to get it going.
Yeah, I think honestly what makes the team so special is having that many people that can, come out and have a great game, or have whoever. We just feed the hot hand, and that's a testament to our locker room and how close we are. Tyson just recently, yesterday or day before, just had 27, and so hit 5 threes, 10 of 15 from the floor. And then a few weeks ago, Drew Smith had, I think it was 36 or so, and he hit 9 threes in that game. So that's just kind of that's how we play basketball. We want to get it to the hot hand, and that's what really, really good teams do is they recognize the mismatch, they get whatever they want, and then they just keep feeding it, and they keep going. And everybody else it's not just let that guy go at it one-on-one. We're screening, cutting, getting him open, and then whoever's making the shots that day that's who we put our trust in. We have everybody else on the floor to back them up. Yeah.
Well, Xander, we do this show weekly, and we always, do some things. We have certain events, certain awards, certain things we give out every week. And, we'll talk about your recent performances. January 18th was our last show, so now we move on from there when looking at statistics. You had a big game, a really big game against Bardstown, 30 points, multiple rebounds, multiple assists. And then you had a really fun game against Pike County Central. And it wasn't a game where you necessarily had to dominate scoring-wise, but you got everybody involved. You guys had a big-time all-around showing. You guys got a big-time win. And then recently against Pikeville, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal and a block. We know Xander plays some defense too. Yeah. And he shot 70% from the field. So it was an all-around great game, Xander. And, I don't want to make anything, I don't want to get you too excited, but we do Player of the Week every week, brought to you by Detman Law, the law firm. And this week's just happens to be Xander Carter for Player of the Week, coming off a big game against Pikeville.
I appreciate that.
we had to give you this event. That was a big reason I had to get you on so we could give you your player of the week and talk about that a little week. But, run us through these games. It's a big win streak right now. These last three have been big-time wins. How do you guys feel right now? And kind of recap me this week a little bit and how you think you played.
Yeah, that's we play a really tough schedule each and every year. We have those road games where we go back-to-back days to Lincoln County and to Bardstown. We got 2 great wins down there, and then we have big games where we'll go to Pike Central on a Friday and turn back around and have Pikeville at home on a Saturday. And I think Coach Bonner and our whole coaching staff does that for a reason. It's so we're prepared for March and prepared for those hopefully 4 games in 3 days, playing on a Saturday night for a state championship. And just kind of the week, we're rolling again. We're kind of getting back to where we should be. I feel like we took a few losses in overtime, especially we had 3 overtime losses early in the season that I really feel like we were 3 possessions away from at one point being 6-1 and kind of highly talked about in the state. So we know what kind of team we are. We know what kind of team we will be in March, and we just got to continue to trust that. And I think the cards are going to fall where they may. And if we continue to trust our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, everything's going to work out for sure.
Of course, Xander, and I'm glad you hit on that. We won't keep you too much longer, but I want to hit on a few other things. The 16th region right now, you guys do look like the favorite, pretty comfortably, but there's some other teams in there that's making some noise right now, and we'd be lying if we said, especially in the 16th region, there can be an upset any night. One team can play better than the other, especially with the travel and things like that. Elliott County has double-digit wins, Fleming, Raceland, Lewis County, and then, while Boyd County doesn't have the greatest win-loss record right now, we know the talent they have. They can win games. We know you guys always kind of go at it a little bit when y'all play. So I think that's a little bit of a fun rivalry. Tell me about the 16th region right now and how you feel going into these region and district games.
Yeah, I think it can be anybody's night, whatever day of the week it is. There's been some big upsets throughout our region that most people aren't really expecting. And so there's been a lot of teams dealing with some injuries and eligibility and everything. So kind of just teams sticking to what they know best and doing what they do best. It's really anybody's night on a few games and things like that. There's some really good teams. I think Boyd and Fleming are kind of the 2-3 behind us. But it's nothing where, we look at the stats and get a big head because we're the favorites right now. That's something we've never done, especially these past 6 years, and that's why it's led to success for us. And so if we just continue to stay the path and do what we do, we're not ever going to look at an opponent as below us or above us. We have full confidence that we're going to go out and win every single game.
Of course, Xander, it's been a super fun season so far. The gears are starting, kind of shift. Things are looking good. Yeah. It's bright skies over there in Ashland right now. And you guys got a big-time game coming up this Friday against Boyd County, which we just hit on. It's a little bit of, a rival game at times. You guys go at it. You guys typically play your best against each other. You've played once this season. You guys were able to come on top. How you feel going into that game?
I feel really good. We've won 10 in a row, but that's nothing. Just because you won the 10th, you're not going to win the 11th in a row. Yeah. And so we know that in the locker room. We're really hungry for another win. You would think the way we practice so hard and everything that we're a 0-15 team desperate for a win. Yeah. And so that's what we got to do. It's what we have to do every single day. Coach Bonner really hits on culture, and that's like what our habits and what we do every single day kind of defines who we are as people and our identity as a team. So going to that game Friday, they have some really good pieces. They've got a few really good players. Some going to play at the next level, and they're dealing with a lot of injuries. They just got back recently, so it'll be a little bit of a new look to their team from what we've seen them earlier in the season. So we can't bank on just because we won by 30 points or so in the first meeting this season that we're going to win this one. So we're hungry for a win. We're going to go in there desperate, and I think we're going to play really well and come out with the win as well.
Of course, I'm super excited for it. Xander, last time you guys played, Xander said, I'm going to take over. He had it 38 points and 9 rebounds. So it was definitely a fun game. Xander, we got a lot of Ashland fans watching tonight. I know your family's watching. Leave something off for those Ashland fans tuning in and what we can expect in this next, month or two of the season.
Yeah, I would just leave it off with just appreciate everything that everybody's been doing for us in the community. I appreciate you having me on here. But I would just say continue to trust in us and trust in the Lord God. And no matter what it is, no matter what the outcome of the season will be, whether it's a state championship, regional championship, or whatever, I think it's going to be all right.
Of course. Xander, you're always one of our favorite guests to have on, man. Thanks for coming on. Man. We'll hope to see you again in the future. Of course. See you, Xander. Xander Carter tunes in and he brings home our player of the week. We love having Xander on here. He always is so well spoken, hits on the right things, adds some fun to it. We definitely talk sometimes, about his recent performances. He loves to stay humble, but sometimes you got to give credit where credit's due. And he's been playing great so far. Our next guest is from Eastern Kentucky as well. We'll be moving on. We got 2 or 3 more Eastern time guys that we got to get out of the way here. I want to get them all on so we don't hold them too long. But our next guy, I actually don't think I see him behind the scenes right now. It's supposed to be Maddox Huff, but I think Maddox is going to get back in here and get everything going. But our next guest is one of the top sophomores in the state of Kentucky. He's been making a lot of noise over there in Montgomery County. He's coming off a big-time performance. He's been making some highlight plays. It's a little overdue not having him on. We've had a lot of his AAU teammates on the show before, but he's one of the top sophomores we've not had on the show yet this season. We're going to get him on. And our next 2 guests will be Tice Jarvis coming on now and then Maddox Huff. So let's have some fun. Tice, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Tice, like I said, we're a little overdue. I say that to a lot of the guys who make their debuts. Should have had you on a little earlier, but I think this is kind of the right time to get you on because Montgomery County, like I said with Ashland, the wheels are starting to turn. You guys are starting to win games. It's looking like the best basketball y'all have played so far. You're coming off a big win against Mason County. You beat that team about 40 points, which is a big region win, I know, for you all. And, you had a great performance, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. One of the best putback dunks we've seen so far this year. If you've not seen it yet, go check out either Next Up Recruits or 10th Region. They've posted it. But Tice, tell me how you feel right now. You're kind of halfway in the middle of the season. You guys have played about half your games. It's been up and down at times. You guys are 10-8. You've took some losses. You've took some wins. I know definitely at the start of the season, you guys were definitely probably down when, you start 1-4. But like I said, things are starting to ramp up. Things look good. Tell me about this team and how y'all feel right now.
Well, most definitely, yeah. We took some hard hits in the beginning of the season, going 0-3, and then knowing without having Caden Reed, I was moved to the point guard spot, knowing I was a freshman last year. I wasn't really used to it. I was playing 2 or 3. So when they moved me to the point guard spot, I had to learn a lot. So it was really just a quick toll on me and my team. We just had to figure things out. And then when I got the point guard spot going, we started rolling with it, beating Campbell County.
Yeah.
When Caden comes back, we beat Mason because I can handle the ball when he comes out. So I know what I'm doing now. So
Well, that Campbell County win was definitely a big-time win you won. They made it to state last year as the 10th region team, and they've actually started the year really good again. A lot of people have picked them as the favorite, but you guys get a big-time win. You guys are 6-1 in region right now, and even thing that's even more important is 2-1 in district. So it's a good look right now. Talk to me about Caden Reed a little bit. Caden is finally back on the court, finally playing. I know he's that, kind of veteran leadership point guard you need on the team. Tell me about how he makes this team better and how he makes this Montgomery team more
hey,
special.
Caden Reed's smart. Give him the ball, he's gonna make the right choice. So every time I'm getting the ball to his hands, he's gonna make the right pass. He's gonna get the right dish, hit the post, hit the wings for a 3. You never know what he might do with the ball.
Well, what would you say? How is the locker room right now? Like I said, we're winning games right now. Montgomery County, Coach Mays has got to be a little excited. What would you say Coach Mays is kind of telling you right now as you guys kind of got some big games on the schedule? We talked about GRC, Lloyd Memorial. Tell me how Coach Mays and the guys are feeling right now, and then we'll hit on that schedule.
We're feeling good, but we can never be satisfied. You always got to come into the next game thinking you might win or lose. So you got to come out thinking we're gonna win. So because we got Powell County, we got GRC, we got Lloyd Memorial coming up. So we all got to have the mindset that we're going to win these games.
Of course, I talked about the schedule a little bit. You hit on that a little bit for me, but let's talk about the team Montgomery has to offer. A lot of people knows Tice Jarvis. A lot of people knows Caden Reed. Now these guys are back on the floor together, but there's multiple other names we got to talk about too. Luke Fonz, Andrew Terry, Dawson Gentry. Tell me about these other guys on this team and what makes Moco special.
Andrew Terry, he's going to be a problem. When he's older, he's going to be a problem. Luke's got a strap. He can shoot the light out of that ball. He's been playing varsity basketball since him and Dawson been playing varsity basketball since they're like 7th graders. So they're used to playing this type of competition, and they're doing really good. They're exceeding expectations. They're both 1,000-point scorers, and I think Andrew is going to be 1,000-point scorer when he's older too.
Yeah. No, the future is definitely bright over in Eastern Kentucky for you all, especially with you and Andrew sharing the floor these next few years. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Not too long ago, you made your AAU decision. You'd be playing with Midwest Basketball Club, and I know the Midwest fans are excited, and I know you're excited. That's going to be a really fun roster. It's like they've kind of assembled the Avengers is how they described it to me. You'll be playing with Fernandez Wright, Jack Lux, and Michael Ray, many other names we didn't hit on. What made you choose Midwest, and how excited are you for this summer?
Just the guys. I heard some guys were joining, and they're good players, and I heard that was a great program to play for, and how they treat their players and how they promote their players. So I was just like, I need to play for a good basketball team that's going to promote me and get me and my teammates to college, no matter where I go. I just need some help.
Yeah. No, well, we know you've played on about every level you can. You've got to play at the EYBL, the 3SSB. You got to play a little bit everywhere, so you know how to go up against and play against the great talent. You've definitely been around great talent for sure as well. But Tice, tell me about this recruiting process, man, because you're still young, you're still a sophomore, but it's heated up. You've picked up multiple offers. We're going to hit on them. I'd like for you to tell us about your offers. I know there's about 4 Division I schools that have given you the offer, and I know it's got to feel good having those. Tell the fans watching what they
Yeah,
are.
we have Morehead State, Eastern Kentucky, Ohio University, and Jacksonville State. Uh, all
Yeah.
4, they're good schools. They're doing good in their seasons
Mm.
right now, and I've been keeping up with them.
Yeah. Of course, good schools, good programs, definitely have some good coaches. I love Jacksonville State with Ray Harper and, a lot of things like that. But what's been your favorite part of the recruiting process so far? Because I know while it is great, it is fun. It also can come with a lot of pressure, a lot of people watching, saying things. But what's your favorite part been, connecting with the coaches? What would you say it's
Right,
been?
it's most definitely connecting with the coaches, get knowing the coaches are interested in you and want the best for you to bring you into their own program and have you there and show you around. It just makes me feel like I'm there. I need to be there.
Of course, Tice. Tice, tell me about the rest of this season coming up. You're at the midway point. We got some big-time games coming up. How are you feeling going into the second half? And say something for the Montgomery County
I'm
fans watching
feeling
tonight.
great, and hopefully Montgomery County fans know that Montgomery County's coming. We're coming.
Mhm. Well, Tice, it's definitely going to be a fun second half of the season. We'll have to get out there and catch you. Friday, you guys play GRC. That's going to be a big one. Then that next Saturday, you'll have Lloyd Memorial, and you guys will finish the season off with games against Cuff Cath and Trinity. So you guys will definitely have those hard matched up opponents. It'll definitely be a lot of fun. Tice, I appreciate you coming on here tonight, man, and giving us a little bit of a recap on what this team has to hold, how you're playing, things like that. If you've not seen the putback dunk yet, go check it out. This guy Tice was flying. He's having a fun season. Tice, I appreciate you coming on, man. Leave us off
All
with
right,
something.
thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Of course, man. Tice, we'll talk to you again in the future. Tice Jarvis makes his debut on the show to talk about Moco Hoops, how he's playing so far through the season, how they feel as a team. And, we had to hit on his recruitment process a little bit because he holds multiple Division I offers. He's one of the, if not the most offered player in that sophomore class in the state of Kentucky. So, but without further ado, let's welcome our next guest on. He's one of the most prolific, enjoyable to watch players in the state of Kentucky. We talked to Xander about guys who put up great numbers, but also will do anything it takes to win. And that's something that Maddox Huff has embraced, especially these last 2 seasons. I know there's a lot of fun things going on in Harlan County right now. They're looking to punch that ticket back to Rupp, but you got to finish the season out so far. And, the season so far for Harlan County has definitely been fun, and I think they're definitely meeting a lot of the expectations they had going into the season. Some people worried, would this team be able to be as good as they were last year? They're 16-5 right now, and they're starting to get hot at the right moment. So let's welcome on Maddox Huff. Maddox,
Yep.
what's up, man?
What's
How
up,
you
bro?
doing?
Appreciate you having me.
Of course, man. This is time number 2. We had you and Xander back on today. You guys were 2 of our biggest guests we had this fall. We had 2 big-time episodes, so it's always great to have you on. And, Maddox, we got to talk about the season so far. We said it to Xander. You guys are 2 of the top front runners for Kentucky Mr. Basketball right now. Your season's been great so far. We'll talk about it a little bit. 30 points a game on great efficiency, especially shooting from the floor. You pair it with 8.5 rebounds. Maddox, you play like you're about 6'8", putting up these boards, man. So many double-doubles so far through the season. How would you say you're playing so far? How do you feel about your season?
As long as we're winning, I feel like I'm playing. Some games I'm needing to score more. Other games I'm needing to facilitate more. So as long as we're winning, and we've been on a winning streak lately. So outside of the loss, outside of that, I think we've probably won about 8 straight. So feeling good right now. Just got to keep that momentum going.
Yeah. Well, the schedule you guys had at Harlan County, we knew was going to be difficult, especially with what you all did last season. You know, you played in South Carolina at the big time event. You guys found success there. You guys have battled just about every team in Eastern Kentucky as well. You guys have played Ashland, played Hazard, battled with both of them, and then you guys recently played in the 2A, you know, the championship, the finals, all that. You guys came up short in the championship game, but Maddox, you were phenomenal. You know, you had made the record with 39 points and the most points, I think, in the 2A, you know, history, I think, with 39. So, you know, kind of recap me through that 2A event and, you know, how this team got going. And, you know, was there a little bit of like some fire lit between you all? Because I think you all were kind of playing your best basketball there during that event.
Yeah, we returned 4 of our rotation guys from last year, so we all had been in that atmosphere, and every game in that was a tournament style game. So the experience went a long way, allowing us to win some of those games where we got down early or teams trying to milk the clock and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a great experience though. We didn't have that experience last year to have a midseason tournament to prepare us for the end season tournament. So I think that that loss will be something that we can learn from. There's a lot that we can learn from, and rather have that loss come then than later in the season.
Of course, of course. The schedule for Harlan County definitely isn't slowing down. You guys still have teams like Frederick Douglass, South Laurel, you know, remaining that you guys have to play this season. But one thing we have to talk about is how the 13th region has been. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, over, you know, 10 teams right now have over a 500 record. They've won double-digit games. Tell me about this 13th region a little bit, man, because it's definitely difficult to compete in, and it's filled with some of the best talent in the state. Maddox Huff, Reese Davidson, you know, Jordan May. But tell me about the 13th and how hard it's going to be able to get out of there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the best regions in the state this year. I really believe that there's multiple teams, you know, over maybe 6 teams that can win it, truly. So we've not played everybody yet. Like you said, we play South Laurel, who is a powerhouse. So that'll be a great game in February to play. But it's been great so far. I mean, every game that we've played in the region has been tied. It's been energy's been high. So I'm really looking forward to the region tournament. It should be one of the most fun regional tournaments in the state this year.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think a lot of people's going to want to be there. It's a far drive, but it's one of those regions that you definitely got to show up for because, like I said, you're highlighted by some of the best talent in the state, but these teams go at it and they're physical, and it's a lot of fun. You know, when you guys were sitting at this midway point last season, you know, you guys obviously had a little bit of a better record. You had some other guys on the roster, Trent Noah, but, you know, how do you think you feel right now sitting at the midway point? Are you happy? I know there's always room to improve, but are you kind of at where you want it to be? Are you disappointed? Kind of tell me where you feel right now midway through the season.
Well, there's a lot of things that I think to us and last year, you know, stressing all the time, trying to figure out how to be perfect, and if you're not, you're doing it. So mid-season last year compared to this season, I'm feeling extreme confidence in myself and my teammates, my coaches, and we've been exposed a lot in a lot of games, and that's what you want early. So and I feel like we're peaking at the right time, and that's super important for us. And just as we continue to stay together and play together, I think we'll be fine and make a run like we did last year.
Of course, going into the season, a lot of us were worried about how Reggie Cottrell would play. We knew the big-time injury and what happened to him this summer, but, you know, so far through the 13 games he's played, you know, he's played really good basketball. He's averaging about 11 points a game right now, shooting fun from the field. You know, tell me about how Reggie's been so far despite the injuries he faced, and, you know, how does it feel? Because it's got to be motivating and uplifting seeing him, you know, be able to maintain great basketball. And
I mean, it hurt all of us after that happened in July. But to see him to be able to play and that he's been playing with lately, I mean, it's something he might have taken it for granted last year, playing with a passion that we didn't see last year, and that's something that you want because that feeds into all of us. Super fortunate, super glad for him that he's able to play and not be as affected as most people thought. I mean, most people thought he wouldn't. So I mean, it's a miracle that he is and he's playing the way he is, and for him, and we're not the team we are without him.
Of course, in the roster, the team, they look fun right now. I know you're definitely having a lot of fun playing with these guys. J.C. Carter's coming off a big-time performance recently. He's averaging 11 points a game right now. Trenton Cole, another double-digit score. And then Brody Napier always contributes to make this team fun. I think we all remembered how he kind of got hot at the right time last year in that championship game, those 7 straight, man. I'd love to be able to witness that again. That was a lot of fun. And, right now, looking at Harlan County, you guys are my favorites, right now in the 13th. And I think a lot of other people, especially how you're playing right now, we still got more to see, but to see Brody Napier shooting those shots again at Rupp Arena, I think would be a lot of fun. Tell me about this roster right now, how all the guys are clicking, how you feel, and kind of give some of those guys some love and show some
Yeah, I
support
mean,
to them.
everybody that's been playing, even the guys who aren't playing just in practice, I mean, we're clicking really well. And top to bottom, I feel like we're all invested. And, even the coaching staff, I feel like we're super invested. I mean, I was talking to Coach Jones today. They're getting lifting. He just came in the weight room. We talked for about 30 minutes about the game yesterday, and that's what you want. You want everybody heavily invested in the past games and the future games on your mind. But I think we're clicking really well right now. We all have a great bond with each other, and especially what we went through last year with each other. Even the guys that didn't play last year that are playing now went through that with us, even if they weren't playing in the game. So. Our chemistry is great right now. Like I said, we're peaking at the right time, and we just got to continue to do that and have faith in each other.
Of course, Maddox, it's been a super fun season. Things are starting to go well. You still got a lot of basketball to play, so it'll be definitely fun to see how things are going. But one thing I want to ask you, Trent Noah had a pretty good game yesterday against Vanderbilt, getting in, making some physical plays, having some fun. Have you got to talk to him since then? Because we could see Trent starting to play a bigger role now at Kentucky, and that's got to be fun to see,
we were on our way to the game, so I didn't get to watch it, but I got to listen to it on the bus, and to hear them talking, saying that he's out there making plays. I know as soon as I heard him come in as a rebound, so I just super happy for him, and I look forward to him keep doing that and keep the. I know he's gonna make good use of it.
Yeah. Well, there's one last thing we have to say because I know they're watching. They show me a lot of support, and I really respect it. And they definitely support you, the ETSU fans, the coaches, the staff. Say something to them watching right now. And for those who don't know, Maddox, tell us where you've committed, where you've signed to, and, say something for the fans watching.
As you said, I have committed to ETSU, East Tennessee State University, and they're playing great right now. I've been tapped into every game I can.
Yeah.
I know they're at the top of the SoCon, maybe top 3 right now. And the SoCon's really tough this year. A lot of great teams in there. Samford, Wofford, Chattanooga. They just played a huge game at home against Chattanooga yesterday, I think. And I think there was over 5,000 in attendance. So, yeah, I mean, that tells a lot right there that they really care and that they're tapping into this. That just shows their support.
Maddox, thanks for hopping on, man. You guys are riding a 2-game win streak. You got Bell coming up. We wish you the best of luck. We'll have you on again, of course, before the season's over. Maddox, thanks for tuning in.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Of course. Maddox Huff comes on for his second time in his career to talk a little bit here on the show about the midway point, how he feels in the season so far. And I'll be honest with you, our next guest is a lot of fun. He's an absolute electric basketball player. He comes from the 5th region. He plays for Caverna. He's having a good season so far. There were some ups and downs for Caverna starting the season. There definitely was, things was going on. But right now it seems like they're starting to pick things up. Basketball's looking a little better in the 5th region. One thing we talk about every week is the 5th region looks better right now. It looks like one of the top regions in the state of Kentucky. So it's definitely going to be fun to see how the districts and the regions play out. But without further ado, let's get Jalen Crane on here, man. Jalen, what's up, man? How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jalen. Let's talk about the season so far, man. How you feel kind of at this midway point right now? Because I know you guys set at 8-10. You'd maybe like to see the record a little bit better, but how's the locker room? How do you feel right now at this midway point?
I feel good. The beginning of the season, we didn't have a lot of guys. We're just now getting everybody back, and we're just now getting to start rolling again. So,
yeah.
Feel me? Yeah.
So being at Caverna, you definitely, have a little bit of a problems at the start of the season because you got to wait for those football guys to come back. And with those guys all coming back and getting back into the rhythm, things definitely look nicer. This 5th region this year is tough, man. It's going to be hard to get out of there. You guys got a big game. I think it's tomorrow, Monday, against Washington County. Tell me how you feel going into that game.
I feel good. We've been working on their plays in practice, just going over stuff that they're going to do and working on defense.
Well, you guys have definitely battled Greene County better than anybody else has. You guys have gotten in 2 big-time matchups, 2 great games. And with them being one of the favorites, to see how you all have played them, how you all have played Taylor, just a different possession or two, and you guys win those games. So you got to know you're able to compete with these teams. You guys are good as advertised. Tell me about the rest of the guys on this team. Tell me about some of the other players and, how they're playing. I know two guys you'll definitely want to hit on is the Martin twins, but Russell Williams has really stepped it up this year and played great.
We got some good players. Like you said, the Twins, they're good, but football is their main sport. Russ, his main sport is football too. But when they step on the court, they do their thing to get the job done.
Well, how would you say, like we kind of talked about how you're feeling right now, but tell me about this 5th region, Jalen, because it's not going to be easy to get out of. It's going to be hard in district. It's going to be hard in region. Kind of tell me what makes this 5th region so good. Is it the coaches, the players? What makes it so special?
All the teams is stacked. That's what it's top to bottom. We're going to really have to come out and compete with every team. Like Greene County, they got transfers. Taylor County, they're good. LaRue, they're good. That's our district. Adair County, they're good. So we're going to step our game up.
Well, it's definitely going to be entertaining. Next Friday, you got one of those district rivalry games against LaRue County. Jalen, the schedule's really starting to heat up, man. I mean, you look at it game for game, Washington, LaRue. Then you'll have Evangel coming down from Louisville. Then you have more of those 4th, 5th region games. How you feeling for the rest of the schedule? Are you confident? Are you kind of expecting to finish out strong?
I'm confident. Like I said, beginning of the season really didn't have everybody, but now we're starting to get everybody rolling, playing their role. But yeah. But I think
Jalen, you're having a fun season. No, go ahead.
I think we're gonna win out for sure. We're gonna compete with all the good teams.
Of course, and I agree with that. You guys are kind of starting to get going right now. All the guys are back on the floor. Jalen, you're averaging efficient 21 points per game right now. You're shooting about 50% from the field. How do you feel about your performances so far? I know a lot of guys have goals going into the season. They want to play a certain way. Would you say you're meeting some of those goals? Are you happy with how you're playing?
I'm happy with how I'm playing. But some of the goals that I'm trying to reach, I'm trying to compete with Greene and District. That's my main goal. Compete with them and go to region because I haven't been to region since I've been in high school yet. So that's one thing I'm trying to look forward to.
Well, I know, Jalen, when you put things toward, I know you definitely are a hard worker. I know it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Jalen, you're a junior, and your recruiting process is definitely heated up. You've definitely been in contact with coaches. Tell us about some of the offers you have right now and some of the guys you've been talking to.
The offers right now, I got EKU and Jacksonville State. I've been talking to WKU, Moorhead, Murray State, and Marshall.
Okay, things are heating up, Jalen. Those are some good schools, definitely for sure, man. I wish you a lot of luck, Jalen, going forward in the rest of the season. We've said it 100 times, but the 5th region's tough, and I know you got goals. I know you guys got expectations. You're ready to finish this out, but this is going to be a big game coming up against Washington County. We got to talk about your team a little bit, how you're playing so far, and things like that. I know we got a lot of Colonel fans over there in Caverna tuning in right now. Leave something off for them before we get off.
Just stay with us. We're going to show you guys something that Caverna haven't seen in a few years.
Well, Jalen, I know you're excited. You're excited to make it to region, and I know that's something you're definitely going to be fighting for. Jalen, I thank you for hopping on tonight, man, and we'll have you on again in the future. We'll definitely have to come catch a Caverna game. Of course. Appreciate you, Jalen. Jalen Crane makes his debut and hops in, talks to us a little bit about how Caverna looks right now, how they're playing. The season started shaky for Caverna. They set at 8-10, but one way you can look at it is that a lot of those losses came early. Once you look a little bit past December 21st, you start to see wins coming in for this team. A lot of football guys on this roster, but those guys are starting to get it going, starting to get rolling. It's hard to judge Caverna, usually those first 3-4 games, but they've battled Lyon County. They've battled Greene County twice now. And they battled Taylor County. So you look at some of those other top 25, top 30 ranked teams and how they've competed. And, the games they've lost have been between, 2 to 3 possessions. So they're having one of those seasons where, 1 or 2 plays go differently. You're a whole different basketball team. We have 3 final guests that's hopping on tonight, but one that's coming on next is out of Louisville. He plays at Ballard. He's had a great season so far. We've been promoting him a lot. He's been playing great, and he actually committed today. I'm not going to say too much because I want him to talk about it. To some people, some people don't know where he's going yet. Some people's not been able to see the news across social media, so we're going to let him talk about it. This is going to be his kind of first interview since, committing today. So let's welcome in one of the top centers in the state of Kentucky, recently committed to an NAI powerhouse up in Indiana. But let's welcome on Blake Russell. Blake, what's up, man?
Hey, what's
How you
up,
doing?
Joseph? I appreciate you having me on today.
Of course, man. So tell me, Let's talk about the recruitment. Tell me what hoodie you're wearing right now, why you chose Marion, and just kind of tell people all about it, because there's some people that might not be familiar with that school or even familiar with you. Tell me about you as a player and why you chose them, and tell me about
Yes,
that
sir.
school.
I was at Fairdale High School over in Fairdale, Kentucky for about 3 years. Since I was a freshman, I played my freshman, sophomore, and junior year there. Before moving over closer here to Ballard, and so me and my family moved, and now I'm living over here closer to Ballard. So I transferred in. My guy Sam Frazier, I played AAU with him. That's my guy. So he really was like, after he heard I was moving closer, he was like, hey, instead of going to Fairdale, maybe you should transfer over. I didn't really get a lot of
Yeah.
PT at Fairdale my 3 years. I got a little bit, starting to get a little bit my junior year. Didn't really do much, only averaged 3 points a game. I didn't really get a lot of time to show myself. But, coming into Ballard, I really wanted to set a standard high for myself. I know that I'm capable of being a great player. I came into Ballard, and now I'm averaging about roughly 20 points a game, about 9 rebounds. Excited to get this season started off big. Not too long into the start of the season, I've had a few good games, and Coach Todd Howard from Marion University, he texted me on Twitter, and he was asking, like what my recruitment was like, and he was like, we should talk more. Him and Coach Pat Knight, which is the new head coach at Marion, came to one of my games against North Oldham. They talked to me after the game, and they was just telling me how interested they were in my game, and not too many days later, they called me with an official offer, and I was very excited to get that. Coach Pat Knight is an extremely good coach. He's coached at Indiana, Texas Tech, Lamar. He's been a lot of D1 programs, and he definitely knows what he's doing. And, for him to come into the NAIA, to one of the top NAIA programs, Marion University is just amazing, for him to come in. He wants to rebuild this program, and I have all faith put into him, and I like what him and Coach Todd Howard have been doing for me, and I'm just excited for this commitment.
Of course, man, and we got a lot of things we're going to talk about here, but we got to talk, when you got a coach like that who's seen some of the best players, to ever play basketball at the D1 level, at the schools he's been to and had to, compete against. It's got to feel good to you knowing he wants to take a chance in you, and he says he sees something really good in you. So that's dope, Blake. It's really cool to see you commit. Marion University, for those that don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing you there, man. But we got to talk about, I know this summer was big time for you. You had a really good summer with Kentuckiana. And, Kentuckiana, we know Coach Sprigg is watching right now. We know he's tuning in. I know it was a lot of fun. You hit on you and Sam Frazier playing right there. Spriggs has done a really good job with rebuilding, Kentuckiana, getting the right players on that team, getting the right guys to play. I know his sophomore junior team is going to be very good this season. So kind of tell me, why should kids choose Kentuckiana if Kentuckiana is reaching out to them, the success you had while playing for the program?
This summer going into AAU, Coach Spriggs was really big on trying to get me to come in, and I talked to him a lot, and man, he's not just a coach, he's like family. He does a lot for you.
Yeah. It's
not just being a coach, but like he's there for you. Like there's tournaments where we would go play in Milwaukee and my parents weren't able to come. He was like, hey Blake, come up with me, you can stay in my hotel, I won't charge you nothing, you can ride with me, you can stay in my hotel. He's always there for you. And it's very important to have a coach that's not just your coach, but is almost like, a father figure with you, and he's just there for you. And it's just amazing to have somebody like that. And he really helped with my recruiting. He honestly is the guy who got my recruiting process started. Coming in and playing for a program like that was just amazing for me. As they got, they're now going to be on a circuit next year, which is going to be really good for them. So if you're thinking about it and Kentuckiana Hoops is texting you, man, I would definitely, want you, like that's a place to be right there.
Oh, yeah, the success was there last year. You guys won a lot of games, had some great talent. And then this season, getting on that Puma circuit, it definitely amps things up even more. Blake, I want to talk about Ballard this season because I'll be honest with you, and this is on me, and I think it's on a lot of other media members out there. We didn't know as much about Ballard as we wanted to. We weren't ranking them super high. And now you look, and, the lowest someone might have you right now is like 15. A lot of people top 10. I know I still have you all in my top 10 with some of the big time wins you all have got, how you guys have played some of the top teams in the state. You guys recently just played St. X better than anybody in the state really has, besides maybe tonight with Trinity. But you guys have played with Frederick Douglass, played with Woodford, played with out of state teams like Aiken out of Ohio. You guys battled with Marshall County. So there's not really a bad loss on your guys' schedule, but you guys have also got some big time wins. You've beat Mel, so you got wins like that. So how do you feel right now in the middle of the season, Blake? How do you feel about Ballard right now, and why do you think these people should be respecting you and ranking you all high?
Oh man, we have a very talented team. Players from our point guard Nate Richardson, very high IQ player. He's a little bit smaller, but his speed's there. He has strength. I mean, he is a really high IQ player. We have younger guys like Baron Clay, a freshman starting right now, or is currently starting for us, and about 6'2", but man, he can go. That kid can. He's one of the best shooters I've ever played with. We got guys like Sam and me, and just other seniors on our team like Caleb Miller that's coming off the bench right now, Nick Hayden in the starting lineup. We have a lot of talent on our team. Junior Jaden Culver, he can shoot lights out. So with all that talent on our team, coming together, obviously, they coming into the season, they wasn't really used to playing with like a true big man like myself. They didn't really have one last season. They had a guy, Kayon Gaines, now at J-Town, great player. He's just I don't think he's really a true big. He's more of like a forward. So, me coming in and playing like a true big and them just getting used to it, it took us a lot of getting used to, working out in the fall and going into the winter and start of the season, but we're really starting to pick that up, and it's showing. They're getting me the ball, I'm getting them the ball. We're really working together as a team, and that's really what's amazing about it. We have a great coaching staff. Coach Willis, Coach Seal, Coach Huff, all these coaches. Coach Darius Pegues played overseas pro, went to Western Kentucky. He's helped me a lot, 7-footer. So we have a lot of great coaches that's helping us through the season so far, and we're really we're trying to, do something very special this season. We think we have a chance to make a run in the 7th region and go play for a state title.
Yeah, and you never know what happens in region because it always kind of spices things up. It's a whole different ball game at times, and we can see Ballard, making that run, being that team because it's so open right now. I know we have St. X number 1, but we've seen that those guys are beatable. But we've also seen how good Mel can be when healthy, and all these great teams. So the 7th region is going to be a lot of fun, but Ballard's right up there with everybody. A lot of people's in their top 3, might even have them at top 2, So it's going to be a lot of fun in that 7th region for sure. But, one guy I want to talk about who's not got, a lot of publicity, not been posted a lot, talked about too much, is Sam Frazier. I know he's one of your great friends. You just hit on him very well. I know he's another, a guy who's kind of in the recruiting process, making decisions, things like that. Tell me a little bit about Sam and him as a player and why coaches should be on him, because I'm all about us showing some love to the teammates and other guys. And I think Sam's a really good player that's definitely being undervalued and under.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Sam's a great player. He led Ballard, he's been on the team since I think he was in 8th grade. He's played varsity since he was in 8th grade. He's a 1,000-point scorer. I mean, the kid is a phenomenal player. He's about 6'3", 6'4". He can play point guard all the way up to forward. That he can really go. I mean, he can shoot lights out. He can handle the ball. He's very high IQ, so he knows what he's doing on the floor. So just being able to team up with him and us becoming like a little duo has just meant a lot to me. We played AAU together and kind of looked up to him a little bit when we was playing AAU. He was one of our better players on Kentuckiana Hoops. I was looked up to him a lot and was very excited whenever I decided to come over to Ballard this year. He's just had a phenomenal season. He can score very well, play defense. I mean, he can move his feet. He's got phenomenal footwork, so he can really do both, two-way player, defense and offense. So it's a great player for coaches to recruit. Man, I would definitely want to recruit him if I was a coach myself.
Yeah, so going into the season, Blake, I knew there was, some hype around Ballard. You guys were excited, but be completely honest with you, man, did you expect to kind of be where you're at right now, kind of middle season? Did you expect to have some of these big wins and battles against some of these top teams? Did you expect to kind of be ranked, respected, talked like you are right now?
Man, coming into the season, like I said, the team was just really having to learn how to, play with each other. Like I said, me coming in and becoming a big part of this team, just definitely took a while for my guards and a lot of my teammates just to get used to. Like I said, they never played with a true big. So, starting off the season, I definitely knew that we was going to be a good team for sure. Like just knowing what we had talent wise. Now, did I think we would, maybe be a top 10 team in the state this early into the season? I didn't really know what to expect, but I mean, I'll definitely take it, for sure. Like I'm excited. I'm super excited to be, a top 10 team in the state.
Of course, Blake. Now, I don't want to hold you too much longer, man, but I know there's going to be some Bruin fans watching right now. I know they're tuning in, enjoying the show. Tell me something. Tell those guys something watching, and they've shown a lot of support this year. Leave them off with something before we, get off here and we part ways.
Yeah, let's go. We're ready. We got 3 games this week. We got a district matchup. We got a big region matchup on Friday against Mayo. The team's ready to get after it. We're going to try to go 3-0 this week and get some big wins, and we're ready to, make a run in the 7th region as that's coming up next month.
Yeah, and that game Friday is not going to be an easy one. You match up against one of the better big men in the state of Kentucky, Keyshawn Jordan. And then when Keyshawn might not be guarding you, you got one of the more physical guys in Jason Gasway switch on to you. The 7th region has a lot of great talent, but there's definitely some good forwards and bigs. How have you been able to kind of, physically match up with those guys and go against them night in, night out?
Yeah, I have lots of respect for Keyshawn, and he's a great player, really big. He knows how to use his body very well. Matched up in the LIT, had a great matchup together.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the game. Like you said, I just love those big games. It just gives me a chance to showcase myself, matching up against other top players. I never want to back down on any competition, so I'm ready to there and play for sure. The 7th region's tough, like you said. I personally, even if I wasn't playing in the 7th region, I would say the 7th region is probably one of the toughest regions in the state. St. X, Trinity, Ballard, Mayo, Manual, all those teams are like that I just named could definitely make a run and become a top 10 team in the state. Great teams. Like you said, Mayo has Cole Edelin out. They have a great coach over there, Coach Hayworth. They have some great players. They're a great team as well. St. X, like you said, beat us on game winner, which kind of was a tough one right there. But, I'm excited that we get to match up with them again on February 7th, which is going to be a really big game. I'm looking forward to it. We watched a lot of film on these teams. We've been preparing, and we're ready for it.
Of course, Blake, congrats on the recent signing and commitment, man. I know it's going to be a lot of fun finishing out this season and seeing what things have got to go. I'll be honest with you, Ballard's been a big surprise to me, but I've enjoyed seeing them be a great team. And I don't think their best I think their best basketball is still a lot ahead of them. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Blake, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you being a guest, and we'll definitely be into either watch you or get you on here again, man. Thanks for coming on. All right. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Blake Russell, for coming on. He recently committed today to Marian University, one of the big, NAIA powerhouses in Indiana. So I'm really excited to have him hop on. But let's get our next guest on. We have 2 more guests ready for tonight, but our next guest goes by the name of Bray Kirk. He plays at Lyon County. He had a really successful, he's been extremely successful, let me say that, while he has been at, Lyon County. These guys are, coming off a really deep run. They're runner-ups of the All-A Classic that recently went on at Owensboro Catholic. And, it was kind of a lot of it was, kind of portrayed by Bray Kirk. He was the top player for Lyon, during this stint. He's having a really, really, really good season right now. He's got lots of schools talking and looking at him. He's a junior. He recently just did 1,000 points, which we're probably going to start off the conversation with. So let's welcome in one of the top players in Western Kentucky and in that junior class, Bray Kirk. Bray, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, man?
I'm doing great. It's like I just seen you the other day, man, and you were playing phenomenal, man. And, since then you've had 2 games, and you guys battled with Owensboro Catholic, who's one of the better teams in the state of Kentucky. And then today you guys got into a hard-nosed battle with Danville Christian. But let's run down this real quick. Let's talk about this All-A event. You guys got wins over Martin County, Pineville, Catholic, and then, competed better than almost anyone has all season with DCA. How do you feel coming out of that All-A event? How do you think you played as a player?
I feel great. Like, as a team, we played 4 great teams up there. Like you said, we played Danville Christian, the best that anybody has. They're a really good team. I mean, they have 2 7-footers, and that 3-2 defense of theirs is very elite. I'm pretty sure they're top 2 in the state in defense right now, and we went out there and put nobody else in the All-A state tournament put over 30 points up there, and I think we were in the 50s and 60s, so I'm real happy with where we're at as a team right now.
So let's talk about it, man. You're coming into this season. Some people, they lowered their expectations for Line. They seen the guys they lost last season. They knew it was a newer team at moments, but right now you guys are playing unbelievable basketball. You guys sit at 14-4, and like I said, I say this to a lot of people. It's like there's not a single bad loss on their resume, and their losses that they've lost to have been battles of games. You've lost to Ballard, Butler, Boyd, Catholic, and now Danville, but those are all really good teams, top nationally ranked teams, in Kentucky. So you can't really hang your head too low or be too upset by it. But how would you say the season's been so far for Line? And, at the midpoint of the year, are you kind of at a happy spot? Are you glad where you're at?
Yes, sir, for sure. Like you said, well, we're out in the second region, so there's not really a bunch of top ranked teams out here, but we come out in Christmas and play in the Lexington Catholic tournament, and all of our losses have been to teams that are ranked in the top 25, if not, or still ranked in the top 25. And at the Lexington Catholic tournament, we took 4 losses there, and they are all literally 2-3 possessions away. And if we fixed a few of the mistakes that we had. Like we had a multiple 20 turnover games up there, and like today we had 20 turnovers game. Like we're still averaging that. We cleaned that up, and we're real dangerous. And like you said, it's real easy to kind of lower your expectations for us, losing 3 D1 players, one playing at Kentucky, very high major, and then one really contributed at Mercer, and then another at FGCU. Like it's real easy to lower your expectations, but we're still like not at our best right now, and we're doing great right now. I mean, and my teammates, they're all really stepping up in a big way. Cooper, he played great today. I'm pretty sure he had 26, going 8 for 13 from 3 today. He's really making a name for himself. And Nolan, transfer, he's just now starting to really get to play with us, and he's doing great. He's a double double. I'm pretty sure he's averaging close to a double double. Isaac, he's starting to find his groove again. He averaged a double double over this tournament, and he's a real man down there in the paint. And then Carson, he's really what brings our team together. He's a real good leader, and he's always hustling for us.
Of course, and you mentioned all the team, a lot of the guys on the team who play these big time minutes, and a guy that I really like is Nolan Kaufman, because I feel like he can run the offense, but he can also kind of lay back and be a wing shooter or play on the low block. And he's really a good duo beside you and how y'all play basketball. I ask you this for those that the sophomore class is really fun. How fun is it playing alongside a guy like Nolan, who's so young, but he's still so mature and so good at basketball for his age? How good is this guy going to be a few years down the line?
Yes, sir. I mean, his potential it's I don't even know how to explain it. Like he's gonna be great, and he is great right now, but he has so much more potential. And I mean, he's 6'6", and he can play really the 1 through the 5 for us, and that's really great. He came and transferred from Madisonville, and that's a huge game for us because that's really what we need is some more scorers and some rim protectors.
Of course. You guys are looking good right now during the season. Like I said, there's not a bad loss, and a lot of the losses are decided between 1 or 2 possessions. There's good wins on the roster as well. I know going into the season, you kind of have your top teams in the second region. I know a lot of people expected you and Henderson to kind of front line. I think University Heights had a lot of hype going into the season, but they've dealt with injuries. They've had things happen, so their season's not been as good. But these games, these records can matter a lot, but you still have to win out in region, win out in district. So far, you guys have looked good in district and region games. How do you feel right now where you're at in the season and finishing off this regular season?
Yes, sir. Right now, I feel like we're really still the team to beat in the region. I mean, we're going up on the chart. Like we've had some up and downs in the season, like LexCath, that was a big down for us, but we've been working hard every day in practice, and my teammates are really like doing their role right now, and we're all kind of like we've all had big changes in our row. I mean, Cooper, he didn't even really get to play last year, and Isaac and Carson, they were getting about maybe 10 minutes a game, and Nolan, he's completely new for us. So we're all starting to figure each other out, and I think by when it's all said and done and when it's region time, we're still the team to beat.
Agree with you, Bray. Bray, let's talk about the recruitment a little bit. We talked about it the other day. Tell me about some of the schools that's in contact with you, keeping up with you during your season, and might throw the offer out there. You might be pursuing your college career at. Tell me about those schools talking to you, man.
Yes, sir. I've been on an unofficial visit to Austin P and Miami, Ohio. Both of their campuses were really nice. I've heard from EIU, Western Michigan, Indiana Wesleyan, and SEMO. And James Madison came to one of our practices in the gym.
Bray, there's a lot more season to finish out, but so far you're having a really good season. You're helping lead this Lions team. You're averaging 22 points a game. You're coming off a really fun All-A event. I know the energy inside the locker room and between you guys have to be good right now. You were riding a huge win streak before this DCA game, but you can't really look at it as much of a loss because you battled them better than anybody else, and it gives you a lot of things to look at to move on and improve on. Tuesday you guys have Livingston Central, then Thursday you got Hopkinsville. Bray, we're going to ask you this one more question. How you feel going into these district region games about to finish off the year? And then after that, I want you to say something to the Lyon County fans.
I feel great going into these district games. We matched up against Livingston already this year, and we beat them by a pretty good amount, but we still can't let that get in our heads. We still got to come out here and compete because, we had four or five games in 5 days, and that's really taking a toll on our bodies. Like Nolan, his ankle's hurting him. Isaac, he couldn't even see today, so that was another big factor. And talking about that Danville Christian game, like you said, we played them better than anybody, and we feel like we could have definitely still taken that win. And there was a few controversial calls like out of bounds, but we can't let that decide anything. And we all were dealing with foul trouble. I had 4. Nolan had 4. He had 2 or 3 early in the first half. Isaac had 4, and Carson had 4. So our 2 tallest players were all in foul trouble. So that was really changing the way we had to play. But I feel good going into these district and region games.
Well, Bray, Lyon County looks like the favorite in the second region again, man. This season's been fun so far. I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight, man. I'm sorry I kept you a little later. But,
no, you're all good. Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
Of course, man. We'll talk to you again soon coming up in the future, man. And thanks for hopping on, Break. See it. Next up is another Western Kentucky star, and there's a reason I saved him for last because we got a lot of things we want to talk to him about. We got a lot of things we got to hint on. He's coming off some really big performances, some really big games, and there's a few teams in Western Kentucky right now that look like the favorites to come out, especially in the first region. There's 2 teams that's battling right now, kind of for that one spot, who people think are the best, and it's Callaway County and Marshall County. Marshall County got the best of them recently, but we know when region district play kind of comes around, things kind of get uneasy. Teams play better at times. Games are low scoring. It's a whole different atmosphere. So, we can't judge it too much off just 1 or 2 games. So that's why we're going to be talking to Eli Finley today from Callaway County and have him kind of talk about that Western Kentucky talent scene, how the first region looks, and some of his recent accomplishments he picked up. Eli, what's up, man?
What's up, Joe? Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. We had planned on having Eli on last week, believe it or not, but some things kind of got messed up. Eli was too busy playing in a 2A event that they actually came out and won. Eli, let's talk about that first because I think it's something we have to hit on. You guys were able to win that 2A state championship. You and Jonah, monsters during that event. You guys played so great, having some of the highest scoring games anybody's ever had in that setting. So, kind of tell me about winning that 2A event and how it felt to be a part of that team.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience for us. I want to thank God for that opportunity, get to play in that kind of event in front of that kind of crowd, man, getting to play for a state championship, 2A state championship. It was an awesome experience, and we're all just so grateful. We had an amazing time.
Of course, like I told you, the season's kind of starting to get fun right now because you've got to play your big time games against, out of region, out of district teams, teams from Lexington, Louisville. You've had those games, you've gone to those events, but now you're really starting to play those games that matter. Those district games, those region games kind of mean the most. And, right now you guys are coming off a win against Christian County. You guys have Christian Fellowship, Murray. You guys got some fun games coming up. I know you guys had a lot of games get canceled due to playing in the 2A so long. So I know there's going to be some schedule, mishaps, some things are going to go on. But right now, you got the region and the district games, which are the most important games. So, how are you feeling right now, Eli, kind of mid-season? How are you feeling so far about the team, how you guys look, and, going into the most important part?
Yeah, I think we showed up at the 2A. And so those will test us more, and we'll have to play a different style in those type of games. We're very excited for that opportunity. I think this week especially, we had a little bit of that 2A hangover where you've been on such a high of those type of games, and you kind of come down to earth a little bit when you come back. But I think this will be a great week for us. We've got 2 district opponents this week. It's going to be a great time for us to kind of hit the reset button and get back to the basics and get back to what we do the best.
When we had you guys, Callaway County, on the show earlier this summer, we talked about the Western Kentucky talent pool and how it's always kind of been underrated. But this season, there's a lot of top talents. There's an Eli Finley. There's a Matthew Lange. There's a Jonah Butler. There's a Miles Woodfork, Jace Burney. There's so many good names in this Western Kentucky talent scene. Tylen George, Bray Kirk, who was just on. We keep talking about it for days. And, right now, Western Kentucky's really starting to blow up, make noise. You guys consistently been ranked a top 15, 10 team all season. I know I had you guys as high as 6 at one moment. And, Marshall County, I know they're a little bit of a rival, but they've been having a big-time season, ranked top 5, top 6 to a lot of people. So, we hyped up the Western Kentucky talent pool a little bit going into the season. And so far, we're looking right. So far, we look like we made some of the right calls on how good, these teams would be and some of the top players. Eli, keep the people up to date because some people still don't believe us. Tell me about some of these top talents in Western Kentucky and why they're just as strong as some other parts in the state.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think that there's definitely real talent down here. I know that historically it's a little bit overlooked just because of style of play, I think. But I think we've proven this year with some of the games that Region 1 teams have played against other teams in the state, Region 2 teams as well, that we can definitely compete with those teams up in the Louisville, Lexington area and the other parts of the state. Lyon County just made that All-A run. We made our 2A run. There's been other teams in these regions that have played in Christmas events and stuff like that, and they've really shown that the talent here is real, and we can compete with anybody across the state.
Of course, you guys had a pretty successful Lexington Catholic run. When you look at the games you guys played, I know you guys came out 2-1. You guys got a fun win against Trinity, and there's some people who will look at Trinity's record, not show them too much respect, but Trinity's got some of the best talent, if not the best roster talent in the state of Kentucky. They've played against the best teams in the state all year consistently, especially St. X. They're coming off a battle tonight. You beat North Laurel, who has one of the top players in Kentucky, and Reese. And you guys got into a little bit of a battle with LaRue, but LaRue is a deep, fun, good team. So you can't hold yourself against that too much. You guys have beat a lot of teams this year. But we got to go back to it again. The region is tough. It's obviously going to be headlined by you guys in Marshall County. I know it was a loss that you guys didn't win. It came by almost 30 points. But, some people had said, it's good that you guys lost that game because it kind of brings you back to life. A lot of stuff you learn from that game. How do you feel from that game? I know it sucks to lose, but, what do you kind of think you felt you learned from your team after that game, what you learned about Marshall? How do you feel after that Marshall County game?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to get too much into the details with you about game plan wise, just in case anybody's listening here tonight. But I will tell you that that's potentially the worst game that we've played in about 3 years, and we didn't do anything right. And when you have a guy go for 40 against you, it's going to be a rough night. So it's just about watching that film and learning from it. Again, I'm not gonna go into anything about what we're gonna do next time, but trust me when I tell you that we have a game plan, and we'll definitely be giving them a lot better game.
Well, I know it's going to be a lot of fun, and we talked about when you match up in that postseason, it's a whole different atmosphere, and everybody plays different. It's kind of a whole different ball game. Eli, you're 2025, you're a senior, and you are one of the top unsigned, uncommitted seniors. It's starting to get fun, with the season coming closer to an end, but tell us a little bit of how your recruiting's going right now. Some of the coaches that are talking to you, maybe reached out to you from all levels. I know I talked to your dad about it recently, but just tell me about some of the teams that's talking to you right now. We don't need a commitment date because that could come after the season. I know we got a lot of people who's going to commit after the season. We've seen it happen a lot these past few years. Just tell me about the schools talking to you and how you feel right now about the process.
Yeah, like you said, I'm going to be waiting until after the year. I wanted to finish out my senior year, and I wanted to just focus on the main thing for me right now, which is having fun with my guys and trying to make a deep run. I have been in contact with schools from pretty much every level, from junior college up to Division I schools. For me, though, it's really about finding the best fit, and I think that'll be where I decide to go, somewhere that I feel like connects to all aspects of me as a person. As a believer, as a scholar and an athlete, I think all those things come into play with making a decision as life-changing as that, because those are 4 very formative years, and I want to make the best decision possible.
No, and like we talk about all the time, it's kind of the most important decision you've kind of made up to this point, especially in your sports lifetime. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Eli, a lot of Callaway fans tuning in. I know we did a show recently. Well, I say recently, but it's been almost, probably about over half a year now since we did that show. Callaway County fans are tuning in, coaches tuning in, watching you. Eli, leave something off for those Callaway fans tuning in, kind of tell them what they need to hear and, what they can expect out of you all the rest of this season, because Callaway looks good right now. You guys, the gears are turning. You look the best you're playing so far. Say something to those fans and the people watching from the outside.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate all the fans, all the support. We hope you guys keep showing up for us, because we definitely love it when we got a big crowd. We love all of the fans, and we hope to just continue to see them throughout the year.
Of course, Eli, you got to be up there. I got to ask you this question because I think it's definitely a fun one. Eli Finley, Jonah Butler, when they're playing on fire, they're playing their best basketball. Is there a better duo in the state of Kentucky?
I'm not sure. I don't really I wouldn't say I'm too aware of other guys that are listed kind of as that type of duo like me and him, especially being a guard and forward pair. I think we play so well off of each other. I think that at least from a chemistry and we've been playing together for a long time standpoint, I think we're the best duo in the state, but I'm sure that's up for debate.
Well, when you guys get going and y'all get hot and you guys kind of start letting emotions get into it, you guys are pumping each other up. It's hard to find a better duo out there. I think I really got to see that in person against Greenwood and then in this 2A event. So, Eli, keep up the great work, man. It's been a fun season. You're representing Western Kentucky very well. Interested to see how this continues to play out, and I know we'll be there for that commitment day when you kind of decide where you want to go in the future. Leave us off with one last thing, Eli.
Man, thank you for having me on the show. Great experience. And, look out for Callaway County. Make a deep run this year.
Of course. Eli, thanks for tuning in. We'll hope to talk to you again soon, man. Eli Finley, we were supposed to have him last week, but, man, we finally got him on this week. Eli's always going to give you a good, fun interview, talk to you about the Western Kentucky, kind of atmosphere and what they have to offer, what he has to offer as a player. And him and Jonah Butler, I asked him that question because, man, they're entertaining. They're as good as it gets. They're averaging about 45 points combined right now a game. And, when they have their hot, best games, it's hard to find a better duo than those two. We've been on show tonight for about an hour and 45. I know the laptop on my end is kind of starting to lose some battery, but we're going to go over some top things real quick. I want to talk about my top 10 teams in the state of Kentucky right now. We've had a lot of basketball recently, and to be honest, this was the hardest part to do. My top 10 right now is St. X. They escaped a big win tonight against Trinity. They battled in the LIT. They brung it off. They won that again. It's still hard to find a better team than St. X. Douglas and Great Crossing are switched for me right now, and it's not because I think Douglas is necessarily the better team. I think these guys go back and forth well. Great Crossing has the win over them, so you can definitely say Great Crossing's better, but I think Douglas is playing the best basketball right now out of the two. I think they're starting to get it going with Junius Burrell not with the program anymore. That Great Crossing, it definitely hurts a little bit, but Douglas is starting to get going. Their football guys are starting to get on fire. Bryan Station has kind of been laying back a little bit. They've been playing their region, their district games. So, we've not got to see them play these big-time teams in the events that we had seen them at, but they're still legit. They're still really good. They're still led by one of the top players in the state of Kentucky in Amari Owens. He needs no introduction. And, they're still winning basketball games. But they lost the battle to Frederick Douglass in January 15th, and since then they've won 4 straight. They beat a good Scott County team. They beat Madison Southern, and but they got some big games coming up. They play Sayre, they play Douglas, they play Danville Christian. We're really going to see how good Bryan Station is, I think, against Danville Christian, who I have ranked at number 10. Their zone and the way they play basketball kind of matches up against Amari Owens the best you can, because Amari loves getting to the rim. He loves playmaking around the glass and getting things done. And what does Danville do? They run that 3-2 with 2 7-footers almost. So it's going to be hard for Amari to get things going, but we doubted him before. We knew it would be difficult against Newport. They beat him by 30. So I've kind of learned not to doubt Amari Owens too much and doubt what he can do with this Bryan Station team and what the other guys in Tayshawn Adams, Rashad Faulkner, those guys can do. But Bryan Station is a good, fun, legit team. Marshall County's got to be the best county team right now. I feel like without a doubt, they still set undefeated. They've got big wins. They've beat great teams. They've beat Ballard, which is a big win you got to have under your belt. They've beat Owensboro Catholic, who looks like one of the best teams in the 3rd region right now. And they beat Callaway County, and they handled Paducah Tillman and McCracken. So they look really good right now. They're winning games when it matters. They're 20-0, 10-0 in region, 4-0 in district. So that's probably your best county school right now. They made state last year. I think we might very well see them hunch their ticket and go back, but they'll have to deal with that postseason Callaway team, which will be fun. Warren Central, I know they took a loss to a Missouri team, Sykeston, but I still have them high because that Missouri team would compete and possibly beat almost any team in the state of Kentucky. And Sykeston's a really good basketball team. I know one thing is that, Warren Central didn't shoot the ball like they typically do. They shot 6 for 23. Ant McAfee, some of the shots weren't falling for him. Armani Bird missed a few threes, but that's still a legit team. That's still a great basketball team. And, that's still the best team in the 4th region. It might be the best team in that area, the South Central for sure. I think they've still got the best defense. If it's not them, it's Danville Christian. But Warren Central's a legit team. They're continuing to get better. They're led by Ant McAfee, one of the best players in the state of Kentucky, Bellarmine signee. So that's definitely fun. Hazard comes in next, and Hazard got in the All-A battle with Clinton County, and I think that game 1 proved Clinton County is legit. From what I've seen so far, they battled 67-65. There was technical foul free throws, which ended up kind of helping give the win to Hazard, but they got in a 67-65 battle. And, Hazard right now, they had only lost 1 game going into that against East Hall, a team out of Georgia. And now they have another loss to Danville Christian, 29-44. I still like the resume that Hazard has, but putting Danville Christian over them, it might be time to do that with just how dominantly they shut them out. They held Hazard to 29 points. Danville only had 44, but, they won a defensive battle and, won pretty big within 15, holding the team to under 30 points. So I still like Hazard as the best team of the 14th. I still think we'll be seeing Hazard at Rupp Arena this season, and I still think they can make a threat and be great. Seth Caudell is a great free throw shooter. He's a great mid-range type scorer. He can stretch the floor, knock down shots. Dalton Combs has to continue to be efficient. He has to continue to knock down shots and be great. He's got to get going, and he's got to be consistently the number 2 or 3 option all the time. But I do like Dalton Combs and what he brings to this team and what he can be. And Evan Eversole is 20 and 10 a game. And Evan Eversole, he might be a smaller, a 6'4", 6'3", 6'5" type big man, but he's effective and he makes plays and he makes moves. So I really like Evan Eversole a lot as a player, and I think he's definitely getting a lot more attention. He's getting the attention he deserves, and I'm glad about that. I like Evan as a player a lot. Covington Catholic took a loss in overtime to Trinity. I've said it 100 times. Trinity has the talent to be the best team in the state of Kentucky. They just got to get things going. They got to put the puzzles together. Coaching has to be great. Players have to give effort. They've got to be getting things going. Does Covington Catholic deserve to be dropped? They've lost back-to-back games in overtime to Cooper and Trinity. Both really, really, really good teams. Besides that, their only losses are to Ballard and Great Crossing. It might be time to take Covington Catholic out of the top 10, but I still really like this team. I think Coach Jake Thielen is a phenomenal basketball coach. I think Athens McGillis is a great basketball player. Donovan Bradshaw is slowly becoming one of my favorite players in the state of Kentucky. And Cash Harney really, fills out that 1-2 punch that they have at the guard positions. I know things weren't necessarily going for Athens or Cash against Centerville Dayton yesterday, Thomas More, but they were still able to get the win against Trinity. I think, other guys have to step up and be great. Cash and Athens had about 52 points combined out of the 71 against Trinity. Other guys got to step up, make plays. You got to win those games, but Trinity's not a bad loss. Cooper's not a bad loss. Cooper obviously led by Andy Johnson, a top 5-6 player in the state of Kentucky. So it's a big win on Cooper's end. I think Cooper's about to start getting a lot more respect. Now, Cooper's lost a few games. I'd like to see him win. Cooper sits at 10-4 right now, but Andy Johnson's been a Mr. Basketball candidate. He's been phenomenal. Roman Combs has been really good. Isaac Brown, I like what Cooper has. I say it almost every time we're on the show. Region 9 is about to be a lot of fun. Lloyd Memorial, Cooper, Dixie Heights, Covcath, Connor, Holy Cross, and let's just say this. I wouldn't be surprised if in a week we have Newport in this top 10, because with Yamil Rondon back, it completely changes that basketball team, and they look really, really, really good. They've won, in their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've won 6 of them. Their only loss coming to Beechwood by 2 points, but they're starting to win games. They just beat Holy Cross Covington, and I'll go ahead and say this. James Turner and Griffin Starks were absolutely phenomenal in that game combining. I mean, Griffin Starks and Yamil were absolutely phenomenal combining for 50 together. And then James Turner is always going to be one of the best, if not the best interior threats, especially on defense. Maybe not named Malachi Moreno. So I like Newport a lot. I still have Greene County this high. I still think Greene County is a phenomenal team. They lose to Hazard by 1 point. It's a multiple possession game you lose by. You can't be mad at that. They have the talent to beat almost anybody in the state. Modi Kuyate continues to get more, adjusted and get into the feel of the game. I'd like to see his numbers go up a little bit, but his impact is just so good, man. I think Cooper Stone, I'm going to say it again, he plays like a 5-year vet, but he's just a freshman. Cooper Stone is a phenomenal leading point guard. I think he's a great player. I've been hyping him up before the season starts. He looks really good right now. Jaden Marr missed a mid-range shot against Hazard that could have won the game, but I say this about Jaden Marr. He's a great shooter, and he's a big-time shooter. That's a shot he's going to hit 9 out of 10 times, but, sometimes they come up short, but that's definitely not something to hold your head on. Eric James Jr. continues to get people excited. He's entertaining, and he's fun to play. And Hayden Blakeman might be the best Swiss Army knife player in the state of Kentucky. He can do a little bit of everything. He can defend, pass, shoot, rebound, and I love Hayden Blakeman's game. He's a 19-8 type player. He shoots great efficiency. He shoots 32% from the three-point line. And then from the field as a whole, he shoots, great percentages as well at 50%. So I love Hayden Blakeman, what he has. He's going to battle with any big in the state. And finishing it off is Danville Christian Academy. Danville was finally added into a lot of people's top 25s in respect, but I think it's about time we're about to start making a top 10 push, if you want me to be honest with you. Their defense is otherworldly. They run a 3-2 that wins them games. They only score 46 points as a team, and they win games. So it's going to be fun to see how this team continues to grow and get better offensively. They only have hit 53 threes on the season, so that is scary, but they do almost all their scoring inside with their size and their length, and their 3-2 zone kind of lands them as the best defense in the state. Coach Sean has a really good team. He's got some really good players. So Danville Christian Academy slides in as my 10 for my last. The battery's getting a little lower, but let's finish off some of our topics. That was our top 10 teams going in, but now, we have our new updated top 10 from Detman Law Firm. Great Crossing or Douglas, we kind of hit on that a little bit. It's miss or match. Blake Russell commits to Marion. I said Clinton County can be a legit threat in the fourth. They can definitely slide in and be the 2 or 3 team. I think the way they play together, and Cannon Young is just so good. He's one of the best centers in the state of Kentucky. Whoever gets Cannon Young is in for a good one, is in for a great player. How they played Hazard, how they play basketball, I think it was a great battle, 65-67. I like Clinton County as a team. I'll be interested to see how they continue to perform when they play tougher talent and competition, but they played a top team in Hazard, and they looked really good. The All-A Classic was a lot of fun. Danville comes out on top. They take down Lyon County. My biggest impressive team in that, honestly, is still Owensboro Catholic, because they continue to get better at the right times. They look like they're going to be the best team of the third region going into this week, but they still have to beat Davis County, and them and Davis is going to be a battle. I have some opinions on that game that I won't say, because I do think the coaches go into those region district rivals hiding a little bit of what they got. They'll definitely not show all their moves and their plays and what they have to offer, but I do think that will be a battle next Friday between Catholic and Davis, and definitely one we'll try to be out. How much does Caden Reed help Moco? Well, we heard Tice say it. He's a leader. He's a great point guard. He's a winner, and he definitely makes this team a whole new team. Moco's kind of starting to get it going right now. I got to see how they play GRC. They got to play GRC within 10, 5 points to kind of see who they are. But losing to them by 30 is not a great look, but I think they're going to battle with them. And especially with Reed, it's a whole new team. Who's your favorite for Mr. Basketball right now? I feel like a lot of people kind of know and feel it's going to be Malachi Moreno winning it, and Malachi has been phenomenal this season. He's helped lead Great Crossing to be one of the best teams in the state of Kentucky, and he definitely deserves it. With his efficiency and the way he's scoring 22 a game right now and 15 rebounds. He's dominated against great teams. He's played great against the best. So Malachi definitely can be your number one, but Xander, 25, 6, and 5 on the best efficiency, 62 from the field, 50 from 3. He's been great. And Maddox Huff is averaging 30 points, 8 rebounds on 50% efficiency. So the top 3 right now is a lot of fun. All 3 committed D1 high guys. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see who brings it home and wins it. Thanks for tuning in to another show. Big shout out to our sponsors, Barron Grass-Fed Beef, Farms in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Thank you, the Barron family, for supporting our show. Pelican Snowball out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Grayville Funeral Home in Edmonson County, Kentucky. Exact Homes, that's Scotty Hawkins in Litchfield, Kentucky. The B Spring Lumber by Kelly and Wendy Wood in Sweden, Kentucky, Sweden and B Spring. And then Charity Hall Bingo by Troy Devers. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Alfred's Pharmacy in Evanston County, Kentucky, the best pharmacy with the best pharmacists. Detman Law Injury Firm, who does our player of the weeks and our top 10 teams. Thank you guys for sponsoring the show. And CNA Plumbing, that is Adam Coates, one of our biggest longtime supporters of the Joe Show. Thank you, Adam, for sponsoring again. Located in Kentucky, over here in Brownsville, Kentucky. He's doing a lot of work right now. I know he's busy. The plumbers have to be busy during this cold season. So I want to thank all of our sponsors. I want to thank everybody who tuned into this show despite, the games that were going on tonight. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Don't forget to hit us on Facebook as well. Let's Talk Kentucky High School Basketball will be back next week. Thanks for all the support on the show recently. Today's show went for 2 hours on the dot, so I appreciate everybody tuning in. God bless. Enjoy next week's episode, which is coming to you soon. Thank you for watching. Make sure